This is Zurich Airport calling for Racing Unleashed Season 2023 Beyond the Pinnacle. Today we race at Red Bull Ring, legendary racetrack in Austria. Ladies and gentlemen, start your simulators. Get ready for racing.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiedel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
And he is a fighter, a warrior. And look at this! Look at this!
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
On the Pinnacle here, we're in our live interactive studio, and what a day this plans out to be, because the drivers are fighting for one of those over there, the beautiful trophies for this 2023 season, and they've got none other than to do it at the Red Bull Ring here, the second Challenger race of the season. And what a race it's going to be, the Red Bull Ring, a fantastic circuit here for you this afternoon and tomorrow, of course, for the Race League. We're live in our interactive studio here in Zurich Airport Tower, and what a day, what a show we have planned up for you today and this weekend. Some new drivers taking to the grid and returning faces once again, as well as penalty points and knockout qualifying bans today and tomorrow, which we'll all get into later on in the programme. Knockout qualifying coming up with the gear up session. We'll get into the gear up session. We'll dip in and out of that, as well as doing other things. A few track explanations and a few other bits as well from Mr. JWW might be making an appearance. But here, though, is the Racing Unleashed RU23 for this season. The car that the drivers have got to take a best advantage on this year. And we've done some development since Silverstone, and we've really worked hard on getting this car absolutely right and spot on for the drivers. New push to pass for these drivers today. They will get 8 uses of push to pass, which will last 8 seconds each time. Not the 5 that we had back in Silverstone. We have 8 chances for these drivers here today to use that push to pass, in which we saw Yannick Pletcher at Silverstone use it early on in the race last time out to get that race lead and take that race win early on, and really puts himself on the top step, going for one of them over there, though. Here, though, are the cars that we have on offer this season. At the very far end, we've got the Zurich car with the green parts of the front wings going all the way up onto the wing mirrors and the green helmet. They are the one who are in the Zurich Kemptal Lounge, Zurich Airport. They've got the light blue to their car, and that's how you tell them two apart. The Madrid Lounge, then, they've got yellow just on their front wing with the wing mirrors and the driver's helmet you see there, just to make sure you know that one. And Munich, sporting the very, very favoured coloured pink there to go with them. And in Calm, they've got the red colours for their chosen livery today. Obviously, that's how you'll tell the drivers apart on which lounge they are racing in, which lounge they are representing, if you will, in this Challenger League this evening. The green, the light blue, the yellow, the pink and the red. They're the 5 colours at their disposal. There will be no light blue on the grid, I do believe. I don't think there's anybody in the Zurich Airport Lounge today. It is Kemptal, Munich, Madrid and Calm, the 4 lounges that you will see out there tonight then. For these drivers, the Red Bull Ring, we've gone from one famous circuit of Silverstone. We come to a second one here in the Styria region of Austria. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race. The Red Bull Ring always provides great action. Very short circuit, not a lot of bits for the drivers to sort of get technical like Maggots and Beckett's. We've just got some nice imagery here from Silverstone then, from our lounges in Munich and in Kemptal as well. You see some of the people, drivers cheering them on. You'll notice some faces there from the Race League. High fives from everybody. It was all smiles and thumbs up. And it was also some moments to reflect on as they go back. There's the Hayder brothers What a journey they had last time out. And the passion there, look, from Ciro Zambra and co as he was cheering on Yannick Pletcher. And everybody then had a fantastic Silverstone, really. It was a very enjoyable one for a lot of the drivers, especially that man there, Sebastian Hirsch, who had a fantastic time of it on his return back to Racing Unleashed after his crash last year. Come away with a great result, but no one was happier than that man you've just saw on your screen there. Yannick Pletcher was absolutely over the moon with his first win of the season and really got the job done early on and just left everybody for dust. And can he replicate that tonight? The difference they've got tonight is the knockout qualifying. Yannick Pletcher will now have to start at the back of the grid. So he knows himself he's got the work to do this time in knockout qualifying, and he's got to come from the back of the grid. Which will bring you the graphics shortly to see the grid order for the knockout qualifying. Obviously, like I say, 6 newcomers to the grid today for the Challenge League. We've got to qualify. Don't forget, the Challenge League drivers are not always set in stone that they will be racing in the Challenge League, because for the Challenger League drivers, they've got to qualify for this event this weekend. The times have came in. Everybody managed to get within I think it was a second and a half or just over when we looked at the times earlier on. 1.7, I believe the timing was between first and last. That is how tight it was in the qualifying session just to be here today racing in this one. No Michael Waversick, so we're not going to get that name wrong today. He missed out on the qualifying opportunity, so we'll hopefully see him again later in the season. But you've got a lot of familiar faces returning to the simulators today, if you will, and to their cockpits, ready to take on this fantastic challenge that they have in store for them. Gear Up then will be getting underway any time now, and the drivers will be in their cockpits. They will be getting ready. Some 10 minutes of preparation for them to get themselves familiarised with the circuit. If they've not raced all day or haven't tested for the last couple of days, they've got 10 minutes to get in the zone, find a rhythm and get going before the start of this race, or the start of the knockout qualifying session, in which one driver has himself a knockout qualifying ban after receiving the 20 penalty points. We'll get into that a little later on when we see the graphics on screen. But what a day it could be for Yannick Pletcher. Can he take 2 from 2? We'll have to wait and see in the knockout qualifying session, as well as the Hayder brothers. What can they do? Borja Zarzo as well. Let's not forget he was our prologue winner just over a month ago. What can he do today? He'll be starting a bit further up the grid. We're in Kemptall live, though, with our camera crew in Kemptall, and you see a few of the audience just stood there watching, and the drivers all in their simulators getting ready to go for the start of this session. Little dark there, can't quite make out who is in which simulator, but I'm sure that these drivers nonetheless are all going to be really raring to go for this one. They've got a short gear up session to get themselves ready and get themselves fully focused for that qualifying session coming up a little later on then. So, 6 new drivers on the grid. They'll all be starting from the front as we know. In what order, we'll find out shortly, but 6 new drivers to go. Then Marcus Valverde will be starting higher up than many expected him to, really. If you remember last time out at Silverstone, he had a disconnection from his simulator, meaning that he did not finish the race. Unfortunately for him, obviously technical issues happen in sim racing and in esports racing. This is the virtual world. It's like having a retirement in the real world. So Marcus Valverde probably starting up the grid a little higher than what you'd want to see Marcus Valverde in the knockout qualifying. So watch him in this session, because this could be a real session for Valverde to get to the front as quick as possible and maybe even get that start he needs in the race a little later on. We have several drivers in the Kemptall lounge, a couple in Calm, few in Madrid and Munich as well. But let's take a look at Mr. JWW, who's just explaining us through the track.
Welcome back, and today we are at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Now, fun fact, the circuit is just over 4 kilometers long, and interestingly, it actually has the quickest lap time of any circuit on the calendar. Now, this is a fantastic balance of really fast, high-speed straights combined with heavy braking zones. The aero and the balance of the car and the skill of the drivers under braking is going to be crucial around this lap. Now, today, it's going to be intense. Fairly long race. It's a close circuit. The cars are going to be going around like shoals of fish, so these guys need to be really on it. So stay tuned. It's going to be an action-packed one. Don't go away.
Don't go away indeed. Thank you, James, for the little track explanation there. And like he says, it's a long circuit, but a very, very fast circuit then for the drivers to take on today here at Austria. We're going to bring up a couple of graphics in a moment of the calendar and the prize money. And this is the prize money that the drivers are in store for. And as you can see, this side of the graph is what the drivers are going to be looking at. The Challenger League, 750 francs for a race win, all the way down to 30 francs for a top 10 finish in your back pocket. The one that Yannick Pletcher's after, though, at the minute, and the one that Yannick Pletcher currently sits in that position of, is at 3,000 Swiss francs for a win in the Challenger League Championship. 2,000 for second, 1,500 for third, and all the way down to 100 francs for that top 10 in the championship standings. And as we see, the Racer League to the right of us as well. And we'll get more into this one tomorrow, but you can bag yourself a massive 1,500 Swiss francs in your back pocket. We're here, race 3, if you will. Race 2, sorry. 15th and 20th. That's the qualification period. That's why I'm reading that wrong. That's the qualification period. Race 3 opens up on the 29th of May to the 7th of June because we have got such a quick turnaround. We are back in 2 weeks' time for the third race of the year. So the light blue, race 3, 29th of May till the 7th of June. It opens up on Monday for the drivers to qualify for the Challenger League race. Get yourself involved. Get down to one of the racing lounges, whether it's Zurich Airport, Kemptthal, Caen, Madrid, Munich. Get down and try and take on these Challenger League drivers, because the track you'll be driving in 2 weeks' time, will be Mugello. We are here, though, for the Red Bull Ring, the 26th and 27th of May, the 9th and 10th of June for Mugello. Fantastic circuit to go around before heading to Italy at the end of June, staying in Italy at the end of June, 23rd, 24th of June for Imola. We're at home. We're at home for the Zurich Airport circuit to mark that midway point of the season, if you will. Monza at the 1st and 2nd of September. Barcelona race 7 on the 29th and 30th of September before the 27th and 28th of October. Spa, race 9, brand new to the calendar this year. Laguna Seca for the drivers to take on. And then the Battle for Glory race 10, to be confirmed. Nobody knows where it is yet, and we will find out later on in the year. I promise you that one. The drivers are out on the circuit. There is your current championship leader, and by the timer at the top of that screen, it is all done for the gear up session, meaning that Yannick Pletcher, still currently on a lap, 2/100ths of a second, he is in the lead of this session from Marcus Valverde, Joshua Hader, and then Adrian Gomez as well in that, rounding out that top 4. Nico Farland, what can he do today? Top 5 at the moment for him as well, starting this one. We didn't see probably the best of Nico Farland last time out, but I'm sure we'll see the best of him here today at the Red Bull Ring. Track limits going to be an absolute key one around here, because the drivers are going to want to use a lot of curb on the outside of the corners as they exit the corners to try and get as best run as possible down the straights. But the track limits are going to be heavily watched here. And there you see, I believe, Joshua Hader sat. And he's nice and relaxed, he's nice and calm, he's ready to go with our camera crew in Kemptthal, bringing us these scenes. Give us a wave, Joshua, if you can. Probably can't hear us. He's getting ready to go for this one, and I'm sure he's looking forward to what is going to be a fantastic race. They're all staying in their cockpits because knockout qualifying is right around the corner, and you do not want to miss this one. Like I say, if you want to get involved here at Racing Unleashed, make sure you head over to one of our racing lounges, because the qualifying period of the 15th the 15th of May. Nope. The 29th of May, apologies. That's the one you want to be qualifying for. If you want to race at Mugello, go over to one of our 5 racing lounges. Try and qualify the best times you can get in to race with these Challenger League drivers. The Hader brothers there especially. They're the guys that you could be up against in the race, as well as the likes of Yannick Pletcher and Nico Farland and Borja Zarzo, Walter Troninger, maybe even Michael Waversick. I've been practicing that name all month after Silverstone. And there's the Hader brothers then, just having a little debrief and a little discussion, maybe about what their plan is for the race, or for this knockout qualifying session. There's number 34. Goes to his yellow simulator at the very bottom of the row of 5, Row of 5 at Kemptthal, 5 on the bottom floor, 5 on the top floor, and they all look like they're on the bottom floor today. And That man looks confident. He looks focused at the moment. He doesn't look like he's worrying about anything. A little wave there from Lorenzo Haider as well. To come up, their knockout qualifying session. Who will do what in this? We'll bring the graphics up very shortly to tell you the run through of who will start where. We'll go through, though, the knockout qualifying because it is a 14-lap knockout, if you will. The first lap is under the safety car. And if you remember from last time, lap 1, warm-up lap, if you will, behind the safety car. No overtaking is allowed. Laps 2 and 3 are guarded laps, which means we can go racing. We can race each other. We can overtake each other if we really want to. Laps 2 and 3, guarded laps, though. Nobody will be eliminated. It's this all-important lap 4 that you see here. Lap 4 is the one where drivers are really at risk of getting eliminated. The bottom 2 drivers from lap 4 will be eliminated all the way down to lap 14. And at the end of lap 14, we will have our pole sitter. And who will it be? Who is your money on for the pole sitter today? Who are you thinking could get this pole position in this one? So 3 guarded laps, apologies, today. And then at the end of lap 4 will be the elimination laps where we lose 2 drivers from the back of the grid. And it could be an absolutely fantastic one here because the Red Bull Ring, a lot of opportunities for slipstream. No push to pass, remember, in the knockout qualifying session. That is only for the race. Let's take a look, though, at the participants and the order of the lineup of the grid for this knockout qualifying session. And as you see, it is Robin Donny in P1, Matthias Overkirk. Apologies, I don't believe that is the full lineup of the order, but these are who are participating. Matthias Overkirk, Roberto Miguez in there, Rock Merzel, Besnik Mortezi, Mario Stanek, Marcus Valverde, Michael Farland, Gianluca Palmisano, Thomas Herzog as well. And the bottom half of the screen, Andreas Koch, Fabio Schlegel, Augustin Torlacci, Walter Troninger, Borja Zarzo, Nico Farland, Adrian Gomez, Joshua Hader, Yannick Pletcher and Lorenzo Hader then down at the back. That may have actually been the actual order for the knockout qualifying session. I'm sure there was a driver that was a little higher up than what I had on my list. Either way, that then your lineup for knockout qualifying session, and it was Lorenzo Hader that you saw at the bottom there, who will start last. Now, normally it's the championship leader who starts at the bottom of the knockout qualifying session, but it was Lorenzo Hader who picked himself up a knockout qualifying ban, which is 20 penalty points in a weekend will get you a knockout ban. Because he has to serve his knockout ban here today, his points will then be refreshed, and he'll be on 0 again to go back into the race. He's free to race, but we'll have to do it the hard way, starting from the back of the grid. We'll be having Carl Verdliger with us a little later on in the programme before rush hour to, again, just go through penalty points and explain them. If you missed Silverstone and wondering what is the penalty point system here at Racing Unleashed, or if you just want reminding, because it has been a month, if you just want reminding, then we'll be bringing that later on. The cars, though, are on the grid. There is the Mercedes-AMG GT3 safety car that will lead these cars away here at the Red Bull Ring. And you see the lights are about to appear on now, which means the drivers are about to get ready for this knockout session. And they're going to get themselves underway now as they go for knockout. And who is going to do what in this short session? Because the race is an extra 12 laps longer than the knockout. And it is the Kemptol Racing Unleashed manager who is driving the safety car today. So Roy doing a cracking job of making sure these cars go up the hill towards turn 2. And I know that that's a discussion between motorbike fans and car fans over what turn 2 actually is here. And me and my director had a good discussion over this last night, and we're adamant that that is turn 2 that you come through there, not the little left-hand kink at the top of it. That one there, we agree, is turn 2. And Roy just making sure that he doesn't pull too far in front. He's just keeping the pack nice and bunched up here as they come down into turn 3. So what can Robin Donny do here? He will lead the pack away when the safety car peels off into the pit lane. And he will be the man to then start the racing laps as planned and to start everything He's got to defend from Overkirk in the background. You just see drivers' tyres and brake temperature crucial. Oh, there goes Overkirk, just getting them brakes in the right window then. Crucial for the drivers to get the brakes in the right window. There is Robin Donny in our calm lounge. He now leads them away as the safety car peels into the pits. It is green and go for the first knockout qualifying session of the weekend here in the Challenge League. Race 2 is pretty much, round 2 is pretty much underway as Donny goes into turn 1, and that was a bit of a tap up the rear end there from what looked to be Roberto Miguez on the back of Overkirk, and Overkirk now tumbling down the standings here, and that then will probably more than likely be looked at by race control at the end of this knockout session. Donny gets away well from Miguez, and then it is Merzel in P3 as Overkirk there very disgruntled and unhappy at the start of this knockout qualifying session, and he'll feel a bit hard done to there. Already moves being made. Joshua Hader starting to climb up the grid a couple of places. Yannick Pletcher's gone from all the way from 19th place. He's up to 15th at the halfway point of lap 1. And for Robin Donny then, it's all go for him, and here is Yannick Pletcher. Look at him go. Looking up the inside, patiently waits for the cars in front just to get through in front of him. There are a couple wide in front. Borges-Arzo's one of them cars as well. Nice and calm for Yannick Pletcher then through the middle sector. Now down the short straight before you come to the penultimate corner. Thomas Herzog through the final corner. There's a car in front very, very wide. That looks like it was Marcus Valverde, so maybe not picking up the pace as he would have wanted. Here comes Thomas Herzog having a look on Michael Farland. Can't get the job done. Farland misses the apex end, and now a chance for Herzog to pounce as they come up the stretch towards turn 2. Herzog having a real good look up the inside here, and here he comes later on the brakes. You bet your bottom dollar, and thank you very much. Job done. Valverde looking to make moves as well just in front over Stanek. But can't seem to get that done. Side by side, a couple of cars in the background. Joshua Hader's now gone up to P12. Nico Farland's up to 11th place. What has happened to Yannick Pletcher then? Dropped down to 17th as we are on lap 3. So the last of the guarded laps here. And there is Joshua Hader. Got Borges-Arzo right in front of him, and then a big gap really to Nico Farland. They've got some 5 seconds to Nico Farland. So what has happened to the back of this pack then? Because they have lost a lot of time already to the cars in front. And for Yannick Pletcher here, the session he wouldn't have wanted, straight out the blocks. As Joshua Hader looks to put the pressure on Zarzo then. Coming through the penultimate corner, try not to use too much of the curb and run off, and well done by the pair of them there. Marcus Valverde's attacking into turn 1 and late on the brakes. Oh, there's another car round. Oh, what has happened here? So Valverde's gone into the back of a car. He's very unhappy with that one. Oh, he's been tapped round again. So for Valverde here, trying to rejoin this session, I said in the build-up to this knockout qualifying, he's probably one of the drivers to watch here. Well, he's down in 13th place, has had a nightmare run there. That's put Joshua Hader, who's got past Borges-Arzo in all of that. He's up to P10. Yannick Pletcher really struggling though down in 17th. Here is Joshua Hader on the back now of Stanek. He's got Augustin Torlachi just in front of him as well by some 7/10 of a second. But Joshua Hader here, he's come all the way back from 18th place on the grid, going well at the minute. Fabio Schlegel down in 18th place, and this is the lap we lose drivers. He's got 2.5 seconds to catch Yannick Pletcher. Walter Troninger, what happened to him? He's down in 19th place, one of our oldest competitors here. And I believe 60 years of age, I was told a little earlier on. So great on him for getting in the cockpit and qualifying. Roberto Miguez crosses the line, P3. But it's Joshua Hader who is P10 and really starting to close the gap on Stanek then. So Walter Troninger will come across the line, and that will be P18 for him, P19 for him. Here is Roberto Miguez. Hard on the brakes into turn 3. And through he goes. Troninger then will be out of this session, as will Fabio Schlegel, 18th place for them two. No, apologies, we've got 3 guarded laps today, so it's the end of lap 5 will be the knockout period. Schlegel's got 3 seconds to Yannick Pletcher though. Joshua Hader really gaining on Stanek then. Into the middle sector, he's got a few laps to play with as well here. And Joshua Hader flies through that middle sector towards the penultimate corner. Just sees that car getting a little closer here, does Joshua. and is flying. Donny out front does his personal best lap, as do a few other drivers. Joshua Hader down the straight, half a second is the gap. Now we're losing drivers. Augustin Torlacci, fastest lap of the session so far. Here is Borges Zazo then. P11 at the moment, a bit behind Joshua Hader, but he's in a position where he can still fight. Nico Forland has just moved into P6 there, it says on the timing screens, but Walter Troninger now will be out of the qualifying in P19, as will Fabio Schlegel. Although actually, saying that, with Lorenzo Hader actually on a qualifying ban, I think we only lose the one driver for lap 1. We only lose Troninger. So Schlegel has another chance to do something here, but he's 2.3 behind Andreas Koch, who's lost out to Yannick Pletcher. Zarzo's now up into P10. Here is Gianluca Palmisano in our Camptal lounge. Into the final corner, P7 at the moment, and down the start straight he comes and across the line. Doesn't set a personal best up there, but still has got a chance to catch Nico Forland, who's P6. He's trying to chase down Thomas Herzog as well. Here is Adrian Gomez, P15 at the moment. He's got Yannick Pletcher catching him. He's trying to catch Michael Forland. Now we lose Fabio Schlegel and we lose Andreas Koch as well. Provisional results, P17 and 18 for them to Adrian Gomez now on the back of Michael Forland, just starting to creep closer to the back of that car. Overkirk just in front. In fact, Forland was wide there. We go to the leaders though, as Rock Merzel here, right on the back of Donny for this knockout lead then. Into the middle sector, he's had a great run. Obviously, these two new to the Challenger League this week, so really giving it some. And the Slovenian racing in our Zurich lounge is battling here for P1 in this knockout session. Good gap behind of just over a second. So for Merzel here, he's got a great chance to get this race lead and maybe take provisional pole position now. So we've lost Koch and Schlegel. We are about to lose Yannick Pletcher and Michael Forland, because Gomez did get past Forland at the end of that one, and Pletcher in this session so far is only going to have made up some 3 places. He is out, as is Michael Forland in P15. Yannick, very calmly placed the headset down there, but his face said that he was a little, just had a bit of an annoyance on his face. Bit of a slide there for Donny on the rear end into turn 3. Merzel now really putting pressure on as they come in towards turn 4. Torlacci has got past Gianluca Palmisano then for P7, so Torlacci moves into 7th place. Flying at the moment is Torlacci. It's Gomez and Overkirk, the two that we could possibly lose. Overkirk needs 4 seconds in half a lap. That's possibly not going to happen. Donny very, very wide through the penultimate corner. That'll possibly be track limits and potentially looked at here then. So for Merzel right on the back, here's Nico Forland on the back of Thomas Herzog now, getting closer. And they've got another car in the top 4 just in front of them then. And Forland, not a personal best lap. He's going to have a look at turn 1. Thinks better of it. He's a little too far behind. But we are going to lose him. Adrian Gomez will be lining up P14 provisionally. And Overkirk will be in 13th place. He got tapped round, let's not forget, at turn 1. Here though are the leaders, and Merzel's got that job done. Looks like he's got the switch back under turn 2. Down towards turn 3 they come. Late on the brakes is Donny. Tries tagging around the outside, a bit of door banging, wheel banging there. And Donny round the outside later on the brakes. Looks like he's managed to keep that one done. Merzel though yields on the outside of turn 4. And what racing between the leaders, runs a little deep into the gravel trap. That's just going to take that momentum away from him, and he's got to now rebuild and get this done again. But Merzel putting pressure on Donny now as they come towards the end of this qualifying session. Valverde and Stanek are the next two to watch. There is Donny, very calm, being patient and waiting for his opportunity to arise. Great move around the outside of turn 3 to keep hold of this knockout qualifying lead here then. And there is Roberto Miguez, P3. He's got 2 cars, all one just being squeezed onto the grass. I'm not sure. They're the 2 leaders, so Miguez here on the top of the leader, so it was Donny and Merzel. Donny's on so wide at turn 2, and Merzel takes the knockout lead here, and Miguez as well into P2. Donny so deep, he didn't need to be that deep into the corner. He's dropped 2 places. He's now got to work hard to get these 2 back. He's got them right in his sights, and can he get a hold of them? That's the question. Nico Forland has got past Thomas Herzog then as well, so they now move swap for 5th and 6th. We have lost Stanek in P11. And Marcus Valverde will be down in 12th place provisionally as well. So Borges Orzo and Joshua Hayden now right on the cusp of being eliminated. But it's 3 for the lead. You look further back. There is Mertesi and Nico Forland and Thomas Herzog and Torlashi all pretty close together then. They've got a bit of a gap back to Palmisano in P8. Joshua Hayden 0.8 of a second behind him, but that isn't going to matter. Borges also looks like it's going to be P10 for him provisionally. Joshua Hayden a P9 in this knockout session. Not too bad for them too. They've climbed up the grid a little bit. Joshua Hayden gained 9 places. Donny so deep at turn 2 again. Nearly hits the back of Miguez there. And he just seems to be pushing these brakes a little harder into turn 2, and he's just making silly errors that he doesn't need to make here. He's got plenty of time still, because Gianluca Palmisano is now the driver with Torlachi that is under threat. Nico Forland having a fight for 4th and 5th further back with Mertesi. And Mertesi back in front, Forland up the inside though. And is that going to be job done? In fact, I think that might be Thomas Herzog who's looking to come back at Nico Forland there. He's managed to keep hold of P5. What a determined look on his face there. Torlashi on the back of Thomas Herzog. So Torlashi trying to stay in this qualifying session then. For Gianluca Palmisano, he's the one who's a little too far back. It's going to be P8. It's going to be 1 place gain for him. Augustin Torlashi then will be lining up P7 provisionally. And that is a decent qualifying session for him. And now it's down 2. Oh no, Torlashi got past Palmisano there. He went on board. We didn't see the standing. So Palmisano 8, Torlashi 7th. Apologies. Yep, so that's job done. Herzog 6th at the moment. Nico Forland's the man who's got to get past the debutant here. And he's got just over half a lap to get the job done. Really has to force the issue here. Thomas Herzog just slipping further back at the moment. He's gained 4 places though so far as Thomas Herzog. Nico Forland was 16th provisionally, so he's gained a good 11 places in this knockout qualifying session. He can be very, very happy with that. 2 corners left to go then here at the Red Bull Ring. And Nico Forland just running out of time. Needs a great exit here. Bit too far back to get anything done. A bit of a poor run out the final quarter there for Mortesi. But it will be P6 for Thomas Herzog. Just gets in Mertesi's way there a little bit as he comes through turn 1. Still in his way a little bit there as well. So just kind of a little naughty that from Nico Forland. Mertesi P4, well behind the top 3, who are all still within a second and a half of each other. As we come into the final 2 laps of this knockout session, Merzel here, absolutely fantastic to pull away. He's got past, he's gapped to a second over Miguez and Donny in P3 at the moment. Live in Kemptol, Yannick Plescher and Joshua Hayden just having a chat there. Bit of a conversation going off. 1.2 is the gap then. We are about to lose Mertesi. And is Donny going to be out this qualifying session as well? I believe he is. There is Mertesi in our lounging car. The man from Kosovo comes through the final corner. It's going to be P4 for him. Donny then was your man who started this race on pole for the knockout session, but he is going to line up in P3. So it is between Roberto Miguez and Rock Merzel for this pole position. And there's a second gap between the pair of them here. So it's going to take Merzel to make a mistake in this session if Miguez has a chance of pole position. But 4 debutants starting in the top 4 positions. Absolutely fantastic to see. There is Roberto Miguez. 1.2 the gap to Merzel out front. And, you know, front row starts, you know, it's not all about pole position. Front row starts just as good. And that gap just comes down a couple of tenths in this middle sector there. It's down to a second now. But with 2 corners, the problem with the Red Bull Ring is you run out of corners. So if you really want to try and outbreak your opponent and get the job done, you run out of time very quickly. But for Roberto Miguez, gains 1 place into P2. But for this man, Rok Merzel, it's going to be a provisional pole position for the Slovenian in our Zurich Kemptol Lounge. A fist pump from him there. Very, very happy man. And that man will be starting provisionally P1 in the knockout race, in the race coming up a little later on. Provisional pole setter in the knockout qualifying session. Can he tame the bull and win the race in the second later on? That's the biggest question here, because he's got a lot of work still to do if he's to win the race. No doubt he's going to have drivers flying through the pack to get this one done. But for Rok Merzel there, very good job for him. He's happy with that. Very pleased with P1. And I tell you what, this now is very interesting, because that is not only the win last time out for Kemptol, but it's Kemptol with another pole position. And I can't remember who's got pole last week. I think it was David Seed may have got pole at Silverstone, because Yannick Pletcher took the lead from him. But Kemptol now, after the race win from Yannick Pletcher at Silverstone, they got a pole position here. And this is live in our Kemptol Lounge. And that will be the man of the moment still in the cockpit there. There's Thomas Herzog and Joshua Hader. There's Lorenzo Hader. He's got his cap on still. He's obviously had that moment where he's just got to wait. He's got to be patient. Now's his time to get in the zone, and he's got to get back in the cockpit. Thumbs up in Kemptol. Happy with that qualifying? Sure they all was. Thomas Herzog there. Just looks like he's getting some refreshments and takes them on board. I'm sure everybody happy with that session here then. But there, as we pan around, is the man sat in the cockpit that we, oh, I'm off camera, we will speak to in just a moment's time, no doubt, for the pole sitter interview there. Off camera there, was just looking at my other monitor, and I forgot where the camera was. But we're back. And that, what a knockout session that was for everybody then. A few ups and downs. We saw Valverde very disgruntled in his cockpit and very unhappy with what happened there. And I believe we can speak with our pole setter now. No, we can't hear us. We're just going through a sound check to make sure everything is okay. And we will get him momentarily then. But, yeah, little smile there. Bit of a smile. He's really got the no emotion at the moment. Still sort of taking it in and making it sink in that he's got this pole position. Now, I believe we can speak with our pole sitter. And that was a fantastic knockout qualifying session. Kemptol, can you hear us? Rok, can you hear us? I don't believe he can. I'm not sure what is happening there. We can hear him. Hello, Kemptol, Rok, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us at the moment, so we will try and get into Rok momentarily and get to an interview with him. We are just working on this one now, and we'll try and bring you the pole sitter interview. Rok, are you there? Can you hear us? No, not at the moment. So we will try and get this one sorted and speak with our pole sitter in just a moment's time. But what a session.
Ik hoor het. Hallo. Slecht. Een mailtje. Ah.
Hello.
Nou.
Hello, can you hear us? Hello. Rok, are you there? We've got him, but he can't hear us at the moment. That's a shame, because I really wanted to speak to him and ask him how he got the move done, or tried to put the pressure and get the move done. Rok, can you hear us? Do we speak English? Hello? Kemptol. How was the qualifying session, Rok, there? No. We've got nothing from our pole sitter there then. So what a shame that we don't get to speak with him. We believe it may be that he doesn't understand English. So that's the problem we may be having at the moment. Which is a shame to not be able to speak with our pole sitter, because what a session he had. He put the pressure on Donny, and he managed to get ahead with that little lovely move underneath at turn 2. But we cannot hear from him. Obviously, our guys in the background there just look like they're trying to get connected and make sure that we can hear everything. But what a knockout session he was. That will be starting on pole position provisionally at the moment. We'll bring you the final classification when we hear from it from Race Control, who are working now. So we will we'll bring you our pole sitter, our final classification of the grid a little later on. Race Control will be busy getting this one sorted. And we are waiting to hear for a confirmed P123, who are all under investigation. So that man there may be having to be a little patient and wait for this final confirmation of pole position. So he's your provisional pole setter. And,
I can hear you.
In the qualifying session, but can he now get this job done? We believe that he can hear us now. Rock, are you there?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We now can't hear him.
Oh.
So we've gone from one end to the other. Nope.
Can you hear me?
Nothing. Rock, I'll ask you the question. I'm sure the audience can hear us. I can't hear you. But just talk us through that knockout qualifying.
Yeah, I try to keep it safe and don't push too much because I knew it's only the qualifying. So I know I need to keep it safe. And now for me, it's 20% done. And I need to get the job done in the race now. So I'll try my best. And yeah, I'm shaking, I'm sweating.
It's great to see a big smile on your face. Obviously, the race coming up later. What can you do?
Yeah, hopefully win. Yeah, I'll try my best. I try to drive as fair as possible, especially the first few corners. And then we'll see. Well,
we wish you the best of luck, Rock, and hope to speak to you in the race a little later on. P1 is confirmed from Race Control. This man is confirmed as pole position, so he will be going from the front of the grid in the race. Hopefully you guys heard what was said there. I unfortunately couldn't, but hopefully we'll get to speak to him properly a little later on. But he is confirmed P1 in the race a little later on. There is Race Control just on the pit wall there, if you will, looking through everything and making sure everything can happen away from our director and everybody in the floor above. And they're all ready to go. Race Control will be sorting everything out now as quick as possible to get a grid order. But one thing we can confirm is that Rock Merzel will be on pole position for the race coming up a little later on. 26 laps of the Red Bull Ring. Can he keep hold of that race lead and make sure that we can win that race coming up a little later on? We've got rush hour coming up in just a moment as well as we're going to speak with one of our Race Unleashed experts, Carl Verlinger, as well, about the penalty points, especially with Lorenzo Hayder having to miss out in knockout qualifying, what this means and what this will do for the next race at Mugello. And obviously the reset of the penalty points and everything. And we'll bring you some graphics there as well to just make sure that you understand if you was Miss Silverstone and are new to Racing Unleashed, so that you can understand the penalty points, or if you just need a refresher as it's been a month since Silverstone. But don't worry, you won't have to wait so long for the next race, because we're back in 2 weeks' time for the Mugello race. So then, Race Control doing all they can to make sure that we get a result as quick as possible here. And we saw a few things happen in that race. Overkirk got a bit of a tap at turn 1 on the first lap. We also saw that Marcus Valverde was very, very happy with things when he got spun around or spun another car around. It took him a while to get going. And we'll analyse all that in rush hour with our Race Unleashed expert Fabio as well a little later on. So then, Race Control, making sure that everything is going ahead at the moment and making sure that everything is the correct decision. And we will get a result to you as soon as possible. But for Rock Mertzel, pole position for him. Lorenzo Hayder, what's he going to be doing now? Because he's got to make sure he prepares and gets himself in the race. And gets himself ready to go in this one. There is the Kempthal Lounge. Live pictures of everybody coming in. Smiling, taking a few drinks on board, getting ready for the event. Coming up the second round of the Challenger League, and we're joined by Carl Vedliger here. We're going to speak penalty points again, go through a bit of a reminder of what happened. Obviously, we saw one of the Hayder brothers today picked up a knockout ban.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to get into an intro first. We jumped the gun a little bit there. So rush hour then. We'll be joined by two of our Racing Unleashed experts then, and it's penalty points first of all. Carl, welcome again.
Thanks.
We explained last time out at Silverstone the new penalty point system. We've seen it now in effect. Lorenzo Hayder had a qualifying ban. What does this mean for him now going forward in the future events?
I mean, it just has, he's knockout ban, so he's starting last and, starting with 0 again. But of course, I mean, if you start last the race, then it's always more difficult to score points, and it's more difficult to be in the standing somewhere on the front. Huh?
Now his points, if I'm correct, get refreshed. He's back on 0, and it's a chance for him now to not really get involved in incidents and try and come from the back quickly, because he doesn't want another 20 points, which will give him the race ban.
Yes, you're right. But, I mean, he's experienced enough to avoid points and to avoid another ban. So, he's a fast driver, he's a clever driver, I believe, now after the ban he got. And he will do a competitive race, I believe. And
for the viewers at home, these are the penalty points that we give out here at Racing Unleashed for the knockout qualifying. A 2-place grid penalty that race control decide equals in 5 penalty points. 3 places is 10, 4 places is 15. That is the penalty points that we had after Silverstone. You see Lorenzo Hayder there on 25. Sven Kusnel, Marcus Valverde, 15 apiece. They keep them 15. Obviously, they've had the knockout qualifying session. We saw Valverde involved in an incident. Yep. He won't want to add to that.
I think he will still be under 20, Valverde, even after the points he got after knockout. But still, he should have an eye on it, because I mean, it always affects him scoring points if you have grid penalties, and if you cannot really use your speed, what he definitely has. But always again with penalty points, I mean, it drops him back. Huh?
It does indeed, and obviously 20 penalty points, a knockout ban. You go back to 0, you get another 20 penalty points, 40 in total. It's the full weekend ban. And that really can hurt your championship. If you miss a whole weekend, that's a lot of points up for grabs that you could miss.
For sure. It's a big ban, and I mean, driver going for the championship, and you should try to score points at every race. And if you get handicapped with the penalty points and with all this penalization, then for sure it's not good for the overall standing.
It's not good for the standings, but we can reward the drivers. A knockout qualifying, no penalties, will see them lose 2 points off of their total. And a clean race, no penalties in the race, they'll lose 3. So they can lose up to 5 points in a weekend. So if we see Valverde 15 points, if he has a clean knockout and a clean race, gets no penalties, that goes to 10.
Yeah.
Rewarding the drivers for the clean driving.
Yes, rewarding for them. And, it's because we want to have clean racing. We want to have hard racing, of course. We want, but with overtaking, but fair overtakes. And this is what they all can do if they look for it. And the penalty points is just one tool, really, to tell them, please keep a distance. Please don't drive too aggressive.
Obviously, the first time it came in at Silverstone. Hopefully, drivers are going to learn from this going into this weekend and further on into the season.
Yes, and I think Red Bull Ring is placed enough to overtake, actually. We have the long straights, and if you have good exit speed from the corners before, there's good overtaking possibilities without collisions and then without catching any points. Huh?
Exactly. Well, thank you, Carl, for explaining all the penalty points there. That is the system then. You saw briefly then the Challenger League penalty points up for grabs. Lorenzo Hayder refreshed back to 0, so he now has a clean slate with everybody else who has no penalty points, but for Valverde and others, they keep theirs until they get to the 20, and I'm sure that we'll see what will happen from race control and penalty points in the future. Carl, thank you very much. Joined now by our Racing Unleashed expert, Fabio. Welcome back again.
Thank you, Matthew.
Great to see you here again. We're going to go through, obviously, some of the replays of the action, a little what happened in the knockout qualifying session. But from your point of view, happy with the session?
To be honest, at the start, not so much. I didn't really like what I saw. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see all of the incidents. I think as the knockout progressed further, it was okay. Still, there are some very interesting penalties that will come up, especially for what I believe is a penalty for Valverde, and he already got 15 penalty points from race 1. So yeah, I would say let's dive into those replays and then we can discuss.
Yeah, while we wait for them to come up, obviously you've spent a lot of time working on the car, trying to develop the car. It's not just the Formula One teams that get to develop their cars. This guy here is working hard to develop our car. We've got 3 extra uses of push to pass, and it lasts for 3 seconds longer every use. Talk us through the decision behind this and why we've now got extra usages of push to pass.
Yeah, with push to pass, we actually have the possibility to play around with it a bit to make it basically adjust it to the racetrack, because every racetrack has different characteristics, as you know, and especially for the Red Bull Ring, for example, we have 2 long straights, or let's put the main straight as well, then we have 3. So there are possibilities to get into the slipstream, activate it, and then basically get the overtake done. With 5 seconds, they would have run out of the boost within like half of the straight. So we thought, okay, no, let's adjust that. They can maybe make an overtake after turn or for turn 2, and then right after that they can actually attack again. So the guy who was actually overtaken. So yeah, it's just a little bit for us to play around. Also give the drivers a possibility to be a bit more, you know, I would say that, a bit more tactic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm very eager to know who's going to activate it when, where, and who's going to save it, who's going to use it in the very beginning. So,
well, we saw at Silverstone, Yannick Pletcher used it straight away.
Yeah.
Onto the Wellington straight, did not mess around, straight into the lead, and sort of left everybody else in the background. Very tactical there from Yannick to use it straight away. Do you think drivers will use it very first lap today? Obviously, 26 laps round here. Got a long race coming up. What kind of tactics, you ex-driver, what kind of tactics would you possibly use to use the push to pass?
I mean, if I would be a driver, I wouldn't tell you guys. I mean, very clever thinking of Yannick last time round. I think nobody expected it. Not too sure if it goes down that well for this time round. But yeah, we'll see. It's always a bit tricky if you see a guy succeeding in the round before and then trying to also do it in this round, knowing that everybody knows what the guy has done last time round. So, yeah.
Indeed. Well, while we was on about Silverstone, let's take a look at the recap of what happened. And it is green and go for the first Challenger League race of the season here at Silverstone. A great start from Yannick Pletcher, P3, who is at though on the third row of the grid, already moving up the order, and a great start from P4, no doubt. Yannick Pletcher looking to attack. He's into second place ahead of Torlashi. It was Joshua Hader who got a great start as well, as he's moved up a few places. Troninger dropping down the order a little bit then, and they're all flying through onto the Wellington straight. A few drivers up and down the list. Lorenzo Hader's down to 30th place. Here comes Yannick Pletcher into Brooklyn's up the inside. A great manoeuvre from Yannick, and that already early on in this race is P1, and he's already used a push to pass to get the job done. Are we going to see Valverde use that push to pass? Down the Wellington straight we come now. Looks like he's got the run. He's going to go so tight towards Brooklands that he's got to really slow the car down, gets it stopped. He's got that run though on Troninger, gets the job done on Troninger. Here comes Borja Zarzo. Whoa, darting back is Torlashi there, as he has to avoid the slow car of Lorenzo Hader in front, and Zarzo gets round the outside at then the farm curve. Lorenzo Hader up the inside of Koch at Village. The loop for Zarzo now to go right around the outside, and that is pushed off there. I believe Torlashi, he's round here. He's been pushed off and loses the rear of the car and goes round. Here comes Torlashi, gets the car stopped just about. Great on the brakes, tucks underneath. What a move from Torlashi. Bit of contact made, big contact made now from Reininger on Torlashi. What a move though that could have been from the Argentine. Comes Thomas Herzog to the outside of Stowe corner. Can't get it done. He's trying to work the outside line, and Troninger just closes that one off. Can he keep the inside shut? He can. Herzog's got to go the long way around at Club. Tucks underneath now as Troninger runs a little deep. Can he tuck back underneath for Club? The final part, no, he cannot. Oh, bounces off the sausage curve there onto two wheels. I think he took off for a moment. Tyler Klausch clipped the back of Thomas Herzog there. Nothing Tyler Klausch could have done. If he'd have just had one lap left, he possibly would have had a good go, but they're really on the back now of Troninger. Oh, contact! Torlashi makes up 2 places, but was that because a bit of contact from Klausch on Thomas Herzog, which spins Herzog around, is into the Club corner, and what a drive for Yannick Pletcher, your race 1 winner this season. He is a very, very happy man with that one. A great race win with Tiziano and Ciro Zambra. Yannick Pletcher takes a dominant race win there. Joshua Hader, P2 for him. And what about this man, your pole sitter, Adrian Gomez Alonso, P3. Very happy with that. Here he is with his P3 medal around his neck. Can be very happy with that one. You can hear the cheers in Madrid. And now we head to our Zurich Lounge in Kempthal, where we have a P1 and P2 double podium celebration. And it'll be Joshua Hader who will make his way. There he is, onto that second step of the podium. And look at that, Noah's already made his way back there. So quick, like our Racing Unleashed drivers. P2 for Joshua Hader. Give us a bit of a hop, skip and a jump onto the top step. There we go. Oh, careful Yannick. Don't fall off. He's very, very happy with that, and so he should be. P1 for Yannick Pletcher. A good high five with Joshua Hader as well.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Was a recup of Silverstone there, and what a win for Yannick Pletcher, who used his push to pass early. He may think about jumping on the podium if he gets there today, because as you saw, he nearly had a little fall off the top step, but Kempthal, pole position today, race win last time out. It's looking good for the Zurich Lounge.
It is, yeah. I mean, Rock really solid, actually. Yeah, I'm very surprised. I'm very, very, very surprised. Also by Robin Dönny. I think I met him 2 weeks ago, actually, and he was there for like the second time. Obviously, he was lucky that he was starting from P1, but he kept it somewhat clean. There was like some incidents, but still he managed to, I think, end the knockout in P3. Yeah. Maybe a penalty waiting for him there, but other than that, very impressed.
Did you think, because the impression I got watching the knockout was a couple of times he went a little deep into corners, just that little bit of maybe inexperience at Racing Unleashed, that just kind of overdriving the car and just trying to brake as late as he possible and running a little too deep?
Maybe, but it could also be like a bit of nervousness. Obviously, he just lost the lead. He wants to come back, but then it didn't really work out for him. But yeah, let's get into the replays.
Indeed.
And then we see what happened.
We've got Roberto Miguez here then, who's coming down the start straight at the moment.
Yeah, I've noted that actually, and this must be right after the start. Unfortunately for Miguez, he actually shunts into Overkirk. Obviously, the worst possible start for Mattis. Turn 1 already in the tires.
We
tire
saw
rolls.
the onboard of Overkirk, who looked very unhappy. That's lap 1 of a 14-lap knockout, if you will.
Yeah.
That's the first, flying lap. Really not what you want. This is on the rear view of Overkirk here.
Yeah.
Got a good gap out the final corner. The slipstream clearly in great effect. Gives Miguez the run into turn 1, and he just outbrakes himself.
I think he just didn't expect maybe Overkirk to brake that early. I mean, he wasn't really braking early, but still maybe a bit earlier than Miguez used to do in the practice.
Yeah.
He should have been more careful there. Especially it's lap 1, it's double penalty points, so this is a clear mistake by him. It's 10 penalty points.
The problem for Overkirk there as well is he's trying to rejoin. He can't rejoin because everybody's coming through turn 1.
Yeah.
He's got to wait. So it just really ruins his knockout qualifying session, doesn't it?
You saw his reaction. He wasn't a happy man. He was actually looking forward to it because due to some cancellations, etc., he actually moved into the challenge. So he was very happy to actually participate. And then after lap 1, turn 1, it was actually over.
Game over. Yeah. Obviously, that's going to put him all the way down in 19th place provisionally. And he's got a very fast Lorenzo Hayder right next to him, who's going to be charging like a bull, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, Lorenzo actually, obviously, he had a look how the guys did in the knockout, so he's very eager to get on with it, finally get into the simulator and drive this race.
Borges also lap 1 as well then. This looks like it's coming up towards turn 2. Just through the little left-hand king on the brakes. And there's 4 red cars right in front of him. He just makes a little bit of contact on the bike. But is that late braking for Borges also? Because the 2 he hit there are already sort of turning into the corner.
Yeah, that's a tricky bit. I mean, he was super late on the brake, kind of like a Daniel Ricciardo he did there back in his good days. Let's see it from the onboard. Obviously, getting out of the way of the crashes in turn 1. Now, slipstreaming, not sure who it is in the front. Nice move towards the inside.
Yeah.
He might have gotten away with that because he didn't really do anything to the car in front. Obviously, it upsets the car in front, but he doesn't turn it around. But it's obviously a tricky one for race control. Because he was coming from such a long way back. So I wouldn't, hold my hand into the fire and say this is a penalty for him or not.
The 2 in front was turning into the corner. Was that something race control are going to look at and think, well, you said it yourself, how far back he was?
Yeah.
Is that what's possibly going to give him the penalty, the fact he was so far back?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it could be. It depends really. I didn't really look now if the guys in front lost a place or not. I think if they lost the place, then possibly it's a penalty for Borja.
And for Borja as well, obviously a prologue winner. Possible penalty points to his name then. Lap 2, turn 2, Joshua Hayder.
Yeah.
Very... it looks like it's about to be...
Yeah, I've actually seen that, and I think it's not going to end well for him. Because he's on the inside, obviously the 2 guys in front fight, close the door. Obviously there is no place for him to go, but... maybe a bit more careful in this scene.
Well, the difference there is the 2 cars both go off and another 2 fall like dominoes, so to speak. But for Joshua there, he's dived on a gap that was always closing.
Yeah, let's see from his onboard actually. Maybe he couldn't really see what is happening in the front there.
So we've got the 3 cars in front. Obviously, it's not the one directly in front of him that we're looking at. It's the 2 in front of that. So he gets a good run out of turn 1. Using that slipstream, pulls out.
Yeah, but he's very late, very, very late. He uses the green car actually as a blockage there. So without
he's not
that car,
that.
yeah, basically without that car, he's not making the turn.
Yeah.
And actually, who was the car that he bumped away on the inside there after turn 2?
Possibly so. The rejoin from the red car that's just come back on the track there, that looked a little unsafe, coming back on while Cars was exiting turn 2 to go down the straight to turn 3.
Yeah, actually, if the guys hear me up there, if they could replay that once again, I would really like to see that. But I think the case with Joshua might be a clear one. It's unfortunate for him because he is P2 in the championship. Might not end well for him in terms of penalty points here. But yeah, he needs to be careful, especially if he wants to be in the championship hunt there.
Indeed, he does. One thing that goes in his favour is he was 9th. Yannick Pletcher was only 16th. So if he does get a couple of grid penalties, it may just put him closer to Yannick. Not dramatically behind him. You know, Yannick didn't have the best of qualifying, so for Joshua Hader, he has still a chance to score points and close that gap to Yannick Pletcher in the standings.
Yeah, definitely. For Joshua, especially if your biggest opponent, so to say, has a bad knockout, it needs to be obviously one without any mistakes for him, so that he can actually take advantage of it. So yeah, let's see what's happening there and where it ends up, or where he ends up in the race grid order.
Indeed. Lap 3, turn 1, Marcus Valverde. We saw his reaction on board him. So this is going to be an interesting one to break down here. Let's have a look from his point of view on board him.
Yeah, I think it's a similar case here with what we saw in lap 1, turn 1. Yeah. The car in the back is actually too late on the brakes, or maybe too quick. And then just bumps into him, unfortunately for Marcos. Obviously, he was upset, but in this case, he's the following car, so he needs to be respectful to the guys in front because they might be a bit more inexperienced than him. And he knows he has the speed. He knows he's super quick. He's, I would say, in the top 3 of the Challenger League at the moment. And I'm very sorry for him, but a mistake that he doesn't need to do.
I'd like to see the drop down of this because I commentated on it in the session at the time. There was another car, as Valverde goes round, there's another car behind him that's already in a spin as well. So I'd like to see what happens here. So as we can see, look, Valverde nowhere near the car in front, late brakes, and it's the slightest bit of contact there, spins them both around, and what happens to the car behind? Oh, there you go. A tap as well for whoever it was spinning round.
There was a Munich car spinning there, but I don't know which one it was. I mean, the car that Valverde shunted into was Stanitz. You could see he didn't really make the turn. No. He was not on the racing line. He missed it a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's in the end maybe Marcus' job to avoid that.
I don't know if we can turn this one back a little bit again and get the drop-down view, because there was the Munich car behind got hit from another car, one of the white cars. Didn't quite see which line it was from, which caused the Munich car to spin. But watch Valverde's rejoin. He's in the middle of the circuit, exited turn 1. He's got traffic coming, and he spins the rear end round to try and get going. That is a driver that's very unhappy. His emotions are high, and he wants to get back on driving as quickly as possible. The problem is, he's then hit another driver as he's trying to rejoin. That, for race control, is a bit more of a slam dunk. This isn't the same one, but this is Michael Farland coming into the last corner here.
This could be Michael who spins and the white car is actually hitting him. It is.
So watch the white car here. Again, it looks a very similar one to the Valverde, and so look, he's nowhere near at the moment. Now,
he might be braking, Michael, because there is an incident and the white car sees it too late. Yeah, that's potentially what happened.
Now watch Valverde try and rejoin here. And then as he goes off wide, spins it up. Just got to be that little bit patient.
Possible unsafe return onto the track.
The white car that hit Michael Farland there, though, was Farland reacting to the incident of Valverde, do we think?
Potentially. I mean, he just saw that there was basically a mess and he just tried to brake or get out of the way. And for some cars, if you're like on the apex of turn 1, you don't actually see what's happening on the right-hand side because there is actually a barrier. So maybe the white car was surprised on what's happening and then just had no time to react.
The 3-man there on the wall, they've got a big job to do to make sure that they're getting the right decisions. They will have the information, as we can see just here. I don't know if we can make out this area here. Bit of throttle and brake input for race control to see. Now, they're going to look at that with the Michael Farland one. And if he was they'll know if he was reacting or not to the incident in front. So race control have the information in front of them, and they're going to make sure that they just double check maybe that Michael Farland one. Is he reacting to the Valverde incident? No. Can the car behind that hit Farland, is he blind by the corner, the barrier that's on the exit?
Yeah, I mean, that's something really what the race control is usually looking at if a driver tries to avoid a carnage, basically. And if the driver does so, I think he's in the right place for race control, not to be penalized. Obviously, if a driver just run through with full throttle on, then it's going to be a problem.
It is indeed. Obviously, no push to pass laps for the drivers today. There was a few opportunities there that they may have wanted a bit of push to pass. We may not have seen some of them turn 1 incidents. Do we think that the push to pass in the race will eliminate them turn 1 incidents if they have that bit of extra speed? Might be able to be that close enough to make a bit of a dive?
Depends how patient they are. What would you do? I mean, maybe today you saw, because they, in the knockout, obviously, because they don't have a push to pass, they want to get as close as possible to the guys in front to use the slipstream to overtake into turn 2. Maybe with the push to pass, they will be a bit more careful with that, a bit more patience, and then use it on the straight. Who knows?
This man here, knockout ban. He's been out the cockpit for a little bit now. He's fully refreshed and ready to go. What's he going to be thinking starting from the back of the grid?
Now they're listening carefully there. I think Lorenzo is going to send it. He's super quick. He's obviously here for the right reasons, as is his brother, to win the championship. He will go full out and... Yeah, exactly. So they hurt me. It's going to be exciting. I hope he puts on a good show. But not only him, everybody in the field. So, I'm super excited. At
the moment, according to the provisional grid, we've got Yannick Pletcher 16th. We've got Lorenzo Heider starting in 20th place. You've got you've got Walter Troninger down in 19th as well. Fabio Schlegel down in 18th place. A lot of quicker drivers towards the back end of the field. It could be absolutely fantastic to see them really charge, especially Lorenzo Heider. If he can charge like a bull to the front of the field, if you will, he could make some overtakes and really be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, definitely, and he will do. And I think he will be careful, obviously, in lap 1, because double points are awaiting him as well. His penalty points are now reset to 0, so he basically starts from the beginning, but he doesn't want to get more penalty points because a weekend ban can be just around the corner if he just doesn't go according to plan.
And that's the next one he gets. The next 20 points that Lorenzo Heider will get will be then 40 in total for the season so far, giving him that weekend ban. Yep. And when you think of Lorenzo Heider, he is one of the championship contenders. He's one of the guys that you're going to see at the front of the pack a lot, podiums, race wins. He does not need that weekend ban.
No, he doesn't. And nobody needs it. Nobody, really. So for him, it's now just keep it clean, but also try to be as aggressive as possible. But yeah, I'm actually more curious what happens with Valverde, because I think one penalty is for sure for him, so that puts him at 20 points. And we know we do the calculations at the end of a challenge, so drivers can have 20 points after the knockout. But if they, for example, have a clean race, a penalty-free race, it's -3 penalty points for them, so that means he would have 17, which is no knockout ban for him for the next race. But as you just rightly said so before, that rejoin that he did, if race control deems that as an incident that's going to be penalized, then it's basically over for him because it would be 25 points, which is minus 3 points is 22. So he would have a knockout ban for the next race.
Not just that, though, is we go into the race where penalties, if he's got grid penalties, which means obviously going to be demoted in the grid today, if that is the case, he's then going to want to try and make these places up in the race. So we're possibly, for Valverde, he's got to be careful here because he could be close to that 40 mark. But either way, Fabio, it's been fantastic to have you here once again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, you're staying with us. We've been told now you're staying with us. Rush hour then isn't over just yet. We've not had a full we haven't had a full hour just yet, so we can't get rid of Fabio at the moment. What we do have, though, is we have a brand new GT sim that is being launched by Racing Unleashed, and we've got to see some clips of it a little earlier upstairs, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Here is one of the clips that we can just talk over while we play as well. Obviously, in our racing lounge at the Circle at Zurich Airport. Beautiful GT simulator, which Mr. JWW, James himself, got to have a little try on and a little go. Real racy VR headset as well to make it sort of feel more realistic towards the GT racing. And there is a few of the guys absolutely looked like they loved having a go. New on the wheel, the screen for the drivers as well. Talk us through a little bit about this GT Rim.
Yeah, it's something completely different, right? It's the next step for Racing Unleashed, obviously, to go from F1 simulator to a GT simulator, because, as you know, the community in the GT class is huge. And we've got the technology, we've got the experience, we have the guys at Racing Unleashed, especially in Maranello, because this one was also built there, to actually manufacture that. And this is a prototype in a way. It's not the final product. It's just a way where we want to, get a feedback from the people. And if you're living around Zurich, you can come to the Zurich Lounge, test it for free, try out the VR headset, and just give us some feedback and say what you think.
I'm popping in tomorrow.
Tomorrow? All right.
Tomorrow. Well, the minute we go off here, I'm popping in tomorrow before we catch the flight home. So I look forward to possibly seeing that in action, maybe even getting the chance to get behind the wheel myself. On Assetto Corsa Competizione, I do believe as well.
Yep.
So the official GT game.
Yep.
Built for the GT racing that follows the GT around America, Britain, Europe, Asia. Fantastic to see. You've also got the likes of the Super Trofeo cars. You've got Ferrari Challenge on there. You've got Porsche Cup cars on there. You've got the Touring Car of America as well. Yep. We also have this absolute beast.
Yeah. The new Formula Simulator, exactly. It might look the same from the outside, but I can tell you a lot of work has gone into that, as you said. So also here with the new steering wheel, full of carbon fiber this time around, with the display, many pages that you actually can show, like tire temperature, etc., different settings where you are on the track. Also the motion rig is completely different. It's a huge back forward, and you will see that tomorrow with the GT Sim, because they use the same one. Massive work that has gotten into that. Special thanks to the guys in Maranello who did that. And absolutely noise free.
And let me tell you now, if you've been to one of our racing lounges, you'll know how loud the simulators are at the moment. So the fact that that's noise free, you'll be able to hear a pin drop in the racing lounges on race weekend. Unless the Hayder brothers are there shouting, because they're very emotional guys.
Or their fans.
Or their fans, exactly. Yeah. Or Ciro Zambra and Tiziano Capone, we saw last time out with Yannick Pletcher. They was very hyper as well and very vocal. So 2 new simulators coming. It may look the same, the new Formula Simulator, but it's not. Obviously, the components on the inside are the big difference for that one. What are we, with the new Formula Sim, what are we looking to get out of it? Are we looking at any changes in terms of the response of the simulator to the drivers on the track?
Yeah, it's massively more responsive, the new simulator. There is also more immersion, actually, because the motion system works in a different way. It has actually more movement, more direct movement. So you feel more at one piece with the car, which relates into more realistic racing, so to say. It also will give us potentially the possibility to use pit stops, because we can actually now, with the new steering wheel, program it that the drivers can actually come into the pits, change tires, etc. Maybe also have repair some damage on the car. So, but obviously this will only come into place if we can equip all Racing Unleashed lounges in time, possibly for next year, because we want to keep it even. We're all about fairness. So no lounge has to drive with the old simulator, whereas another lounge can have the new one. So if this is not given, obviously there wouldn't be a championship. So it needs to be fair, as always at Racing Unleashed, and that's what we try to make happen.
Indeed. So possibility next year, maybe the year after 24, of the fact of new simulators, pit stop races, possibly being able to repair some wing damage for front wing changes, that we may see a few of these drivers, based off of some of them penalty clips we saw there, they'd have needed a new front wing after it ended a few cars. So the new simulators, hopefully to be rolled out across all the lounges for next year. Oh, can't wait for 2024 already.
Yeah, me neither. Actually, I'm really looking forward to that, and I really hope we can roll it out for every lounge. But yeah, as you rightly said, so because of the damages, right? This is the reason why we put penalty points into place, to calm drivers down. Yeah. Because there is no damage. Obviously, with damage, drivers would drive differently than they are at the moment. So this is why we have the penalty points, to maybe manage their aggressiveness a little bit.
We're sort of balancing out penalty points with the damage, because we can't, our wheels at the moment don't have the function of being able to change settings for a pit stop. Penalty points brought in sort of maybe balance that out then. The drivers all getting back into their cockpits and simulators, taking on some last minute advice, whether it's from friends, family, girlfriends maybe even, who knows.
But that's actually Angelo Michel there with Nico Folland. They're good mates. Actually, Angelo is Nico's mentor, so they train a lot. They spend a lot of time with each other, also in their free time. So maybe some last-minute tips, how to approach the race. But Nico is already an experienced guy, so he knows what to do. But maybe sometimes it's comfortable to speak to someone, maybe to get your nerves straight. And yeah.
Go on then. I put you on the spot last time. Who's winning the race?
Actually, I don't know the starting grid. I mean, I know that Rock is P1. I don't know who's P2 and who's P3.
Who's winning the race?
Who's winning the race? I'm going all out here. Rock.
Right. You heard it here first. Rock on his debut. He's got pole position. Can he get the race win? There's only one place to find out, and that is this place, Racing Unleashed, where we go beyond the pinnacle here in 2023. Then the lights are out at Munich, and it is full darkness in preparation to go in this race. They are getting ready, as is everybody in Calm, Madrid and Kemptal as well. It is all systems go for all the drivers in this session now. The race coming up in just a few moments' time. And Fabio here putting his money on the new man, the pole setter himself. Can Rock, the Slovenian, take the race win? Stay tuned to find out in a little moment time then. There's again still some information being taken on board there. I just see behind me. You may not be able to see that clearly, but there is just still to the far side of me, bit of information being taken on board.
Looks super cool without the lights on in Munich. It just gives the entire thing a different perspective, a different atmosphere. Actually, what we're just missing there are some neon lights on the bottom of the simulator.
I was about to say, Christmas, come December, when we've got Christmas lights up, that'll look brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got some blue LED strips across the bottom of them simulators, how good would that look? Might not be dark for much longer, because the light may be able to get in as we come into the summertime then. But obviously as we get towards the winter at the end of the season, that is going to be one dark room lit up by 5 or 6 racing screens. And the noise of the simulators go. You've been in this situation where you've been told to get back in the simulator, you've been told to get back in the cockpit. What goes through your mind as a driver You've got to sit in, you've got to wait now. We know, the length pretty much of the wait. What's in your head at this time?
Now that you're asking me, I'm straight away back in the cockpit, actually. It depends. If you have a screen and you know what's going on the broadcast, then you know roughly where the interviews are, because last year around we went through the starting grid and had interviews here and there. This year it's a bit different. You don't really know who's going to be interviewed and when. And especially in Zurich, where I used to race most often, you don't have that screen on the side as we have, for example, in Munich. So you have absolutely no idea where we are, and suddenly the screen turns on and you have to be focused, right? Obviously, there is still a bit of a gap, I think like 1.5 minutes or 2 it was, where you can refocus, maybe warm up your wrists again, and adjust, your vision to the screens, and then fully focus on the light before they go out.
As a driver yourself back last year, did you prefer to not be interviewed on the grid so that you could have that bit extra time to concentrate?
Depend. If I had a bad knockout, then obviously I would have loved to be not interviewed. But anyway, let's get on with the race.
Yes, indeed. Let's go racing. Fabio, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We know that Rock Merzel is your pole sitter then, and the grid will load just here in a moment with the following 19 drivers. And this is the list that will be taking you away on this 26-lap race around the 4.3 kilometre circuit. Rock Merzel on pole, Besnik Mertezi in second place, Nico Farland up to third, Robin Donny down in fourth place, Thomas Herzog will be fifth, Roberto Miguez sixth, Augustin Torlacci seventh place, Borges Arzo in eighth with Gianluca Palmisano P9, Mario Stanic rounding out the top 10. P11, Joshua Hader before Matthias Overkirk, P12. Marcus Valverde then drops to 13th place from 12th, so he only loses the one place there. Adrian Gomez, P14. Michael Farland, 15th. Yannick Pletcher, 16th place with Andreas Koch in 17th. Fabio Schlegel in 18th. Lorenzo Hader, it says 19th with Walter Trauninger in P20. So that then is your confirmed grid for the Red Bull Ring race, round 2 of this Challenger League, coming up in just a few moments' time. The drivers will be getting themselves on the grid, ready to go, and they'll be getting themselves fully prepared now. They've took the fluids, they've had a few snacks, they've chatted to who they need to speak with getting ready for this race. It's now full concentration, and it's now time to get onto that grid, where there you see Rock Merzel on pole position. But can he hold pole position? Can he take this race win on his first outing here? Bit of prize money in his back pocket and points in the bag going into the rest of the season. Obviously wasn't here for Silverstone last time around. So we hope that he will hope, should I say, that he can get some points in the bag and score them, get on that championship standings and go from there. Quiet on the grid, patience in each lounge, quiet for everybody at the moment. Quiet at the Red Bull. We're about to get underway for our Challenger League round 2. We'll be live tomorrow, midday, for the Racer League, Red Bull Ring for them. What's going to happen there though? But the lights are coming on now. And it is green and go for the Challenger League round 2 at the Red Bull Ring. It's a good start from Rock already, who's got a decent lead and is able to tuck into the racing line. Everybody bunched out as they come through turn 1. A few cars side by side, running wide to avoid collisions there. A few drivers in the background. Push to pass activated, 8 laps for everybody to use then. And it's Rock Merzel already, who's got himself nearly a second lead. He's used a bit of push to pass already on the first lap then. Drivers making up places. Yannick Pletcher's up to 12th place. Lorenzo Hader, He's up to 15th place as well. Koch down into 20th. What's happened there? Joshua Hader, he's now tumbled down into 20th place. So he's tumbled down the standings as well. Stanek up to 11th. Valverde's up to 12th. Lorenzo and Joshua Hader have only made up a couple of places. Joshua's actually down quite a few then in this one. But it's Merzel who leads the way from Mortezi. Here is Lorenzo Hader under pressure from his brother. There's one person you don't want to make contact with. It is your brother. Obviously no teammates in this format, so don't hit your relative. Gomez gets past Koch here. Merzel out front already, 7/10 of a second in the lead. He's already used 3 push-to-pass activations early in this race. So within 1 lap, he's already used 3 push-to-pass. So has Nico Forland. He's used 3 as well. Merzel again, straight back on it. He's used half his allowance on lap 2 of 26. He's already making sure he pulls out that gap over Mertezi. Forland's into P3. He's used a couple of laps as well. Here is Nico Forland trying to tuck underneath the yellow car of Mertezi, but can't get the job done. Another push to pass for Merzel use. He's already used 5 laps now of it, and he's maybe wants to save some for the end. Here comes Yannick Pletcher, not used a lap at the moment. Torlashi's used 2. All contact from Pletcher on Torlashi, and Yannick makes the move stick. Well, maybe he should have just got out of the throttle there and let Torlashi keep the place, but a moment there for Yannick Pletcher on the back of Torlashi. Gianluca Palmisano has also got past Torlashi, then he's up into 8th place as well. And now Pletcher can head after the lead. The rest of the cars in front. Joshua Hader now has Troninger right in front of him. Little wiggle off the curb there as it bounces over. You saw from his shaking his head that he knew any more curb than that and the car would be very unsettled. And the driver's saying that the car does not like being in the dirty area, so he's going to want to make sure he gets past Troninger as soon as possible. Borges also fastest lap of the race. And here is Mario Stanek then, up the hill towards turn 2 in a bit of a train at the moment of 4 cars. Right behind Torlachi, he's got Valverde right behind him. And for Stanek then, gets it braked in, stopped and turned, and just manages to get it done. No place at the minute. Forland, though, has got 2nd place. He's got that one done. Joshua Hader as well has moved up to 16th place. And for Merzel and Forland, they've only got 2 laps of push to pass left to use. They've not got a lot. There's Joshua Hader getting past Troninger as well. So that is P16 for Joshua Hader. Forland again back into 2nd place. So clearly just ebbing and flowing between the pair of the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. But 3.2 that Merzel is out front already from Nico Forland. He's got 1 usage left. We've done 3 laps of racing here. And Merzel, who sets the fastest lap, has got 1 usage left onto the lap 4. He's got to go a long, long way without using his push to pass. He's used his allowance of push to pass inside 4 laps. 3.3 seconds is his gap to Nico Forland. Forland's only got 2 usages left himself. Lorenzo Hader then on the back of Gomez. In fact, he's just got past Schlegel there into turn 1. So Gomez, the car in front, half a second. He's on the back of Overkirk as well. Here comes Schlegel. Lorenzo Hader, though, defending that inside line. Job done, nicely done for Lorenzo Hader there. Torlashi's back ahead of Luca Palmisano. And a lot of drivers early in this race using a lot of their allowance of push to pass. That is Overkirk, who's a little deep into turn 3. Gomez just thought about having a look. Then here's Borges also running in a great P5 at the moment. Only used the 1 lap of push to pass. He's got Donny in 4th just ahead. Him and Mertezi not used a single lap of push to pass at the moment. How good is Rock Merzel's strategy of using all your push to pass in one go? Forland does his personal best lap of the race. Borges Arzo, though, is absolutely charging. Yannick Pletcher, fastest lap, a 1:05.144 for him. He's up to 7th. And we're on board him now. He's got he's got Miguez just in front of him with Torlachi 3 seconds behind. Another usage of push to pass there for Yannick. Here's Valverde having a look at Stanek. Up the inside into 2, has to avoid the car in front, which I do believe was Gianluca Palmisano. And did that just have a bit of a contact with Stanek there? He was trying to avoid Palmisano. Stanek now has a run on Valverde. And Stanek back into that P10. Valverde just struggling a little bit here. Gomez has got past Overkirk for 12th place. Lorenzo Hader's on the back of Overkirk as well. Here is Borges Arzo then. Donny just in front. And Miguez just behind. Yannick Pletcher on the back of Miguez as well. Half a second separates them. The gap Forlan to Merzel out front, 2.9 seconds. So it is coming down just a little bit. Forlan sets another personal best lap time then. No one else improving this lap. Torlachi did, as did Palmisano and Stanek. Troninger gets past Joshua Hader then, so Hader's down to 16th, back up to 15th place. Thomas Herzog and Michael Forland have got past Fabio Schlegel. And who's that round the outside? That is Miguez, day late, $1 short. And Borges Orzo does not need to panic about that one then, as Miguez here really has compromised himself. And I believe Yannick Pletcher may be having a look. Is he on the left-hand side of Miguez here? Can't quite see. He was. Tucks back in behind, on board with Donny now. And I believe Yannick Pletcher has got Miguez done. So Yannick Pletcher now up into P6. Here's Donny on the back of Mertzi. These two had a good battle in the knockout qualifying session. P4 and P3 still. Nico Forlan 2.5 seconds off the back of the lead. Yannick Pletcher now running P6. Has used a bit more push to pass than Borges Orzo has, but not by too much, and it's only 0.8 of a second at the moment. Sorry, 0.4 of a second the gap. Yannick to Borges Orzo. Orzo's got 0.8 of a second back to Donny. And Yannick Pletcher, calm, cool, collected as always. You never see this man flustered. Uses a push to pass once again. He's got 3 laps left of it. Bit of a train forming now behind P3. 5 cars in this train. And for Yannick then, your race winner at Silverstone, what's he going to do? Is Walter Troninger looking up the inside of, is that Overkirk? I believe it possibly is. Still side by side, bit of wheel to wheel contact there, nothing unsettling the cars. Troninger up the inside, easy as you like, gets it stopped on the apex port perfectly, and that's a great move for him. There is Sebastian Hirsch in the background and Walter Troninger then. Fantastic move. Just proving that age is just a number and talent is what you need in these cars. Fantastic move for him, and he parked it on the apex to make sure that there was no way back there for Overkirk to come back through. He's now got to try and face Thomas Herzog, who's gaining on him in the background. 2.2 seconds the gap out front, Forlan to Merzel. As Donny then has got past Mertesi, and that is a change for P3. Zorzo's got past Mertesi now, so what has happened to Mertesi, who's come back to Zorzo? That is now got back ahead. Troninger pulling away from Overkirk, who's got Herzog right on the back of him. Pletch is now ahead of Zorzo. Miguez has lost out. Miguez has gained over Mertesi, who's lost out to Torlachi now. So place is changing all over the place here. Here is Borges Orzo. There's Donny and Yannick Pletcher just in front. Yannick looks to the outside, steadily, patiently waiting. Late apex on the corner there, and Donny now has to defend from the current championship leader of Yannick Pletcher. But what happened to Mertesi? Dropped down to P7. He's got back ahead of Torlachi then. Torlachi right on the back of him. So Donny's still got a bit of a train behind him. Lorenzo Hader a puff for the cheeks there as he gets up to P11. Joshua Hader's followed him through as well, so I'm not sure what's happened to Gomez then, but Troninger's got past Stanek, so Stanek's had a problem, so has Thomas Herzog and Overkirk. Here's Augustin Torlachi. P8 right on the back of Mertesi, 0.3 of a second. Yannick Pletcher has 1 activation left. Thomas Herzog has used all of his push to pass. There is Roberto Miguez on the outside of Borges Orzo. Is that is job done for Roberto Miguez. Yannick Pletcher in front as well has got himself past Donny, and that into turn 3. Donny trying to go around the outside of Yannick Pletcher. Borges Orzo trying to go around the outside of Miguez. Contact between Orzo and Miguez, and that means Orzo just runs into the gravel a little bit, loses all momentum. Yannick Pletcher uses up his final push to pass and has now got himself up into P3. Your current championship leader back on the podium. Donny here though hasn't used a single lap of push to pass at the moment and has got a huge gaggle of cars behind him. Borges Orzo was the one that missed out. Miguez now right on the back of Donny. Runs a little wide out the final corner. There's Orzo. There's Mertesi. Torlachi. Palmisano will want to get on the back of this. Here is Augustin Torlachi, the Argentinian. Into turn 1. Very patient. Comes through. A little wide for Mertesi. Just clip that sausage curb on the outside. 3 drivers all used up. Nico Forlan, 2 usages left. He's 1.9 behind Merzel. And for Torlachi, he's getting closer to that of Mertesi then, as Gianluca Palmisano has lost out to Marcus Valverde. Into turn 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, 5 cars you see on screen, all in pretty much close proximity. Valverde has Luca Palmisano coming back up the inside of him. A little wiggle on the rear end for Palmisano there. Has that compromised his run? It did just a little bit. You know, it meant he had to tuck behind Valverde and couldn't keep it up the inside for the next left-hander. So Valverde moves himself into P9 now. Lorenzo and Joshua Hader are charging through the field. Lorenzo Hader, let's not forget, started at the back of the grid with that knockout penalty and is flying at the moment. Yannick Pletcher, fastest, personal best for him, should I say, with no push to pass. 7.6 seconds though he's got to Nico Farland. For Mertzel at the minute, 1.5 seconds in the lead. Here is Yannick. The thing I like about this man is he never looks like he's panicking. He never looks like he's flustered. He has the same facial expression the whole race. Torlacci, P8, 0.3 of a second behind Mertesi, who's a little wide on the exit of the corner. And does this allow Torlacci to pounce here? Looks at turn 4, pulls out, thinks better of it, patiently waits. But Mertesi in front has made a few mistakes now, and this could allow Torlacci to take advantage of this and gain that place that he needs to move him up the standings once again. The Argentinian absolutely charging at the moment. Borges Arzo's just started to drop these cars as he's getting back on the rear end of Miguez, who's still with Donny for P4 at the moment. Donny does his personal best lap of the race. It was still, though, a couple of tenths slower than Miguez and Borges Arzo. Valverde, P9. Personal best for him. Started to pull away from Palmisano. Zarzo can see Miguez and Donny. Miguez getting closer to the back of Donny. Is he thinking about tucking underneath? No, because Donny got a good exit. Lorenzo Hader's now, Lorenzo Hader, sorry, battling with Palmisano for P10. Final points position as well. So for Lorenzo Hader here, just starting to put pressure on that top 10 spot. Here's Roberto Miguez. Little wide, misses the apex on Donny there. He's just going to lose a tenth or two. Finds the apex on the second left-hander. Not too greedy with a curve coming through the right-hander there. And there is our cameraman right on Yannick Pletcher. No panic. All nice and calm in the Kemptor Lounge at the moment. They're all watching, nervously waiting. Family and friends all keeping their eyes out on what these boys can do. Pletcher then, 6.6 the gap. He's brought that gap down to Nico Farland. Here comes Borges Arzo though. He's having a look on Miguez then. And Miguez trying to have a look on Donny and taps the back of Donny there as Borges Arzo made a great move up the inside. Miguez taps the back of Donny. Now gets that better run because of Donny having to spin the rear wheels up. And Miguez uses push to pass. He's going to have a look at Borges Arzo round the outside of turn 3. He can't get it done surely. Now he's dipped 2 wheels in the gravel. And that meant Donny just clipped the back of him and gets that place back. Torlacci now is in the background of these 4. But what a move from Borges Arzo. 2 into 1. Lorenzo Hader looks like he's about... Sorry, was that Lorenzo Hader? No, it might have been Valverde on the back of Mertesi. Nico Farland now. Mertzel must have made a mistake because that gap has gone from 1.5 to 0.4 of a second. Nico Farland out front is right on the back of Mertzel here and has 2 laps of push to pass left to use. Up the hill towards turn 2. Farland uses a push to pass there then. Can't get it done. Will he use his final one now to try and get in front? He's not at the moment. And for Nico Farland, where does he think of using it? Is he going to have a look into turn 3? He thinks about it, has a look, gap's not there, patiently waits. While these two are fighting, this is helping Yannick Pletcher pull the gap down. Miguez then got ahead of Donny, and now Torlacci's got ahead of Donny and Miguez. So, not sure what's happened behind. Donny's now back ahead of Torlacci, and all these dramas between all 3 drivers bumping into each other. Torlacci on the left-hand side of your screen, Nico Farland on the right. He's just lost a bit of time in this middle sector as Farland. But it is Donny, Miguez, Torlacci, Valverde now on the rear end of this battle for the top 5. Look at the train of cars there. Mertesi's in this. Palmisano's in this. The two Hayder brothers are still there. Nico Forland's lost a couple more tenths to Merzel this lap, but still has that one lap of push to pass. Only 3 drivers have used their allocation. Troninger hasn't used a single lap. Overkirk hasn't used a lap. Neither has Mertesi. Palmisano hasn't used one. Donny hasn't used a lap neither. Miguez gets himself out of Donny. That is for P4. Now Forland closes the gap in Sector 1 once again. And here is Merzel, the Slovenian, trying to get ahead, or trying to pull ahead of Nico Forland, but he's used all his push to pass. There's 9 laps left in this race. Migueles and Donny having a fantastic scrap. We're on that. On the left-hand side of your screen is the Miguez-Donny battle. Torlashi and Valverde. Miguez in the gravel, loses all momentum into the second left-hander. He has a bit of a snap mid-corner, and now this gives Donny the chance to look up the inside into the penultimate corner. They wheel bang. Valverde's there. Torlashi's there. Oh, Valverde nearly into the back of Torlashi on the left-hand side of your screen. You've also got Mertesi in behind Valverde. You've got Palmisano just a second behind. You've got the Hayder brothers. Here comes Valverde up the inside of Torlashi into turn 1. I think they've got it done. He has. Great move, Valverde. Forland was having a look on Merzel as well. He did get ahead for a brief second as well. In the background though, Valverde coming back under pressure from Torlashi around the outside. That is Donny wide, and Miguez lights up the rear wheels, and round he goes all on his own, and he gets it back going, but because of the close proximity of everybody, has dropped down to P12. Here goes Torlashi up the inside of Valverde. Can he make this move stick? Still side by side as they're going to come round towards the left-hander. Torlashi, Valverde, great battle. Valverde yields that one to his fellow compatriot in Madrid, but now Palmisano is with Mertesi on the back of this pack. Gomez is now up to 10th. Joshua Hayder's 11th. Lorenzo Hayder's dropped to 13th there. Did he get caught out by Miguez? What a race though between Torlashi, and what a lap between Torlashi and Valverde there. Both have pushed to pass left, 3 and 4 laps respectively. Here's Nico Forland. He's used all his allocation of push to pass. He's got to do it now off of his own speed and his own determination. Yannick Pletcher 3 seconds off the back of both of these two, and he is coming for this. He wants his second race win in the bag. He really is up for it. Valverde has it all to do again over Torlashi. Mertesi, P8, 7 tenths behind. Then you've got Palmisano, 7 tenths off of the back of him. Miguez has got past Lorenzo Hayder now. Joshua Hayder's down to 15th place. So what has happened to the Hayder brothers? As here is Valverde trying to get onto Torlashi. Has that extra lap of push to pass over his rival, Borges-Orzo. 8 seconds now. Look at Yannick Pletcher. That gap's under 2 seconds now. And the front 3 have no push to pass. This is pure pace from the front 3. And while Forland is trying to attack Merzel, this is really allowing Pletcher, who is nearly a second quicker than Forland and Merzel on the last lap. He is really charging and coming for them. Donny, Torlashi, Valverde, personal best laps in the race. Here's Thomas Herzog down in 13th. On the back of Lorenzo Hayder. He's the 4th and only other driver who doesn't have push to pass available. Through turn 1. What a race this is at the moment. There is Thomas Herzog, another man who looks cool and calm. Just checking his tyres to make sure they're in the right window. Obviously doesn't want to overheat them. Nico Forland now within 2.5 tenths of Merzel. Forland seems to have the much better first sector. Merzel seems to have the better second and final sector than Forland. The gap to Pletcher is 1.8. So Pletcher is coming here in this race. Now Forland has a better middle sector, has a great last sector, he gets a good run. This is where he needs that lap of push to pass, but he's used them all. Merzel goes to defend, comes back to the racing line to take his braking zone. Well in his rights to do that. But look at the run that Forland gets out to turn 1, just dips under 3 tenths. Yannick Pletcher is now 1.4 off the back of these two. And Forland, is he going to have a look into turn 2? He's going to lick the stamp and send it. Yes, he does, up the inside, but doesn't get the momentum out of the corner. corner, doesn't get the traction, and Merzel somehow keeps hold of this race lead. There's Yannick Pletcher. It's under a second to him and Forland now. So it's 3 for the lead. Lap 19 of 26. Forland has got to do everything to get past Merzel, but now he's got to have one eye on his rearview mirror and start to defend from that Yannick Pletcher, who is coming for his second race win this season and his second race win in 2 races. Merzel, Forland, Pletcher, 9 seconds they've got back to Borges Orzo, who's got 4 laps of push to pass. And look at Yannick's face. There's no pressure. There's no... he's not pushing himself. He's just keeping calm, as he does all the time. 1.2 seconds to the leader is Yannick Pletcher. Back to Valverde, who's on the back of Torlachi, who's on the back of Donny. Donny here still has all 8 laps of push to pass left to use. But not the final corner that Torlachi would have wanted there. Here comes Valverde, no push to pass for him. He's not used it this lap. Decided against it down the start straight. Maybe he's going to look at it out of turn 1. Back to Nico Forland. Lost a lot of time to Merzel in the first set to this time around. He's got Yannick Pletcher right behind him now. Miguez does his personal best lap of the race. Yannick getting closer to that race when he's 10 seconds clear of Borges Orzo at the moment. Absolutely flying is Yannick Pletcher. Merzel, what a job Merzel done on his first race at Racing Unleashed. Donny and Torlachi side by side. There's Valverde's view of it. Torlachi gets himself out of Donny. Donny tucks in between Torlachi and Valverde. And Valverde's now going to have to look at attack Donny, the new driver. Kemptor at Calm is where Donny's driving at. The other 2 racing in Madrid. There is Valverde. He must have a headband for each colour cockpit of the car, because every time he seems to match what cockpit he's in. Wide though at the penultimate corner. And Valverde not got the run he wanted. Torlachi now though has started to just creep ahead and pull a bit of a gap back to Donny. He's got some gap though to Borges Orzo. Out front once again Forland brings the gap down. Yannick Pletcher's half a second behind him. The more the front 2 fight, the more you feel that Yannick Pletcher could get on the back here. There is Rock Merzel, your pole sitter, your race leader at the moment. Lap 21 of 26. The laps are counting down. Coming to the end of this race. This man has done great to chase down Merzel, but now what can he do about getting past him? Catching is one thing, passing's another. A slide for Forland out the final corner gives Pletcher a good run then, but Forland deciding to chase Merzel then for that slipstream to try and gain that bit extra speed down to turn 1 as Yannick Pletcher then goes a little wide out of turn 1 himself. He's lost all his good work that he's done. All that hard work has just gone to waste there. He's now got to regroup and catch back on the rear end. Forland, bit of breathing space. Borges Orzo uses a push to pass. Donny and Luca Palmisano, personal best lap of the race. Here comes Forland within 2.5 tenths once again. Just under 2 tenths now as they get to the braking zone of turn 3. Valverde side by side with Donny. A bit of wheel contact into turn 2. Valverde looks to tuck underneath. Can't do so there. And Donny manages once again to hold on to his place. Somebody tap him on his shoulder. Tell him he's got push to pass to use. There's 8 laps he's still got that he could be using to defend himself here, but he is at the moment a sitting duck to Marcus Valverde and the pressure that Valverde is applying to him. Torlachi has left these 2 in his dust at the moment. Merzel, Forland, Pletcher, Zarzo, top 4. Torlachi rounds out the top 5, but look at Forland here. He's got Yannick Pletcher right on the back of him. Pletcher's closer to him than he is to Merzel as they come up towards turn 2. 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths. It could be 2 tenths by the time they hit their brakes. Yannick looks. He's there now, Nico. You've got to start to do something now because Yannick Pletcher is looking and he's a man that wants to make up as many places as possible. Michael Forland, on the other hand, just dropped down to P20, so not sure what's happened down the order. Valverde now has got past Donny for P6. Donny's now lost out to Mertezi for P7, so he's now down to 8th place in this race. But Forland losing out to Merzel here. Merzel needs this from Pletcher, needs Pletcher to apply some pressure to Forland so that he can maybe gap the two once more. Lap 23 or 26. We're at the end of 23 or 26. Who is that around? I wonder if that is Michael Forland then. 20th place, maybe lapped. It was a pink car, so it was a Munich car. It is Michael Farland. So what has happened there? A shake of the head for him, so not sure what's happened as he moves off the racing line. Now a lap down, Merzel, Farland, Pletcher. Farland, he's left Pletcher a little bit. He's now on the back of Merzel, ebbing and flowing. Farland is dropping back, he's gaining. It's like he's coming out the dirty air a little bit to have a look into turn 2. Can't get it done. Great driving this from all three of these drivers. Merzel covers early to defend that inside line. He knows Farland is likely to have a look at a lunge. Does he think of doing it into turn 3? He's close enough. He pulls out now, has a look, sticks his nose up the inside, gives the room on the outside. Great respect from both drivers, and Farland still can't get it done. Into turn 4, he's going to try the long way round. Bit of a tap on the rear. Oh, it's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong for Merzel. Down from 1st to 3rd. Farland has tapped him round at turn 4, and Yannick Pletcher, he must think it's Christmas because he now leads this race. What an absolute disaster for this man. The Slovenian, who was doing so well at defending there, has dropped from 1st to 3rd. And your heart has to bleed for him. But Nico Farland still in 2nd place. Yannick Pletcher now leads this race here on lap 25, the penultimate lap as well. Lorenzo Hayder having a look at Miguez. Roberto Miguez into the penultimate corner. Backs out of that. Got on the curb a little too much. Miguez there got on the curb. Didn't get a traction out of the corner. Lorenzo Hayder here then. He's got no push to pass. Miguez has 4 laps. Here comes Hayder. Send it indeed with the lap car of Farland. Oh! Late on the brakes from Miguez here, nearly into the back of Donny, who's now down to 10th place. And Lorenzo Hayder, I think, just got a little distracted by that as well as he went a little deep. That puts to bed that battle for the time being. Battles all over. Lorenzo Hayder just struggling to get the braking stopped here. He's come from the back of the pack. Let's not forget P12, so a great drive for Lorenzo Hayder here. Yannick Pletcher 1.5 seconds out in front already. So he's absolutely flying is Yannick Pletcher. Thomas Herzog can smell blood and wants Lorenzo Hayder to get past him. Miguez just maybe catching Hayder out at turn 1. Palmisano's got himself past Gomez for P8, moving himself up the points a little more as well. And then it's Gomez, Donny, Miguez, Hayder and Herzog there, as the camera pans out beautifully, that we can all see. That's the space. Donny just lighting the rear wheels up a little bit there, has a bit of a twitch, still not used to single lap. Him and Overkirk, the only 2, and in fact Mertezi, the only 3-4, because Troninger's not even used push to pass. Here comes Miguez on Donny then. Donny tries to close the door. There's a car there. You can't go any more right if you tried. Miguez still trying to come at him into turn 2. Later on the brakes is Donny, but runs deep himself. Gets a good bit of traction out of the corner though. Now tries to slam the door shut. Here comes Miguez once again. Donny this time gives him the room on that right hand side. And Miguez now uses his last tap of push to pass, and Donny across the front of Miguez. Keep your car still. He has done. But here comes your winner. It is Yannick Pletcher. 2 from 2 for him. Nico Farland in 2nd place. What a drive for Yannick Pletcher and Nico Farland. Then I'm sure that race control are going to want to take a look at that one. Rock Merzel, well, it was hopefully going to be the fairy tale story. It wasn't to be though. He'll cross the line for P3. Borges-Arzo P4. Torlachi will come across for P5. Marcus Valverde, what an up and down day he's had. He's P6. Mertezi on his debut, P7. P8 will go the way of Palmisano. P9 for Gomez. And there is our cameraman in Kemptall, who I'm sure, there's the smile, there's the emotion. The race is done, there's the emotion. A very, very happy man. Very, very happy man. Hopefully we can hear what he has to say. And family and friends around, they all look happy with the work done. Yes, very, very happy with the work done there. 2 from 2 for Yannick Pletcher. What an absolute driver. I tell you what, this guy, he's on course here for some good points this season. He's on course here for maybe lifting one of them trophies at the end of the table. And for Yannick Pletcher then, what is to be in this race. Speaking obviously with family, very, very happy with that. 2 from 2 for Yannick Forland. Bit of a smile, also a bit of a grimace. Does he feel a penalty is possibly coming his way? That's a shame. Lorenzo Hayder, it's saying on there, got into the top 10 as well there. So that'll be because of the incident between Donny at the end. High fives for Nico Forland. And I'm sure you could just tell from his face, can't you? He thinks, he probably knows what's coming his way. But he'll remain in the cockpit. He'll have to wait for race control to do their thing. Now then, what a race, what a race, what drama from everybody up and down this pack. It was fantastic, it was action-packed, it had everything from send-its, from great defensive manoeuvres, from fantastic overtakes to collisions. But one man who is very, very happy, or should be very happy, is this man here. Rock Merzel should be very, very happy with the work he did today, because that was a fantastic drive. Led the race brilliantly, defended brilliantly. It took a bit of contact to knock him off the top step. Absolutely brilliant to see Rock there receive the high fives from his other drivers, and our Racing Unleashed lounge expert there just consolidating him maybe over that. But it's not over yet. Race control will take a look at it. It could be a P2 for him. Obviously, it's consolation to what could have been on the penultimate lap of the race for Rock. If he carries on driving like that, he could be in for a fantastic season if he qualifies for more events in the future. Obviously, we say all this about Yannick Pletcher. Could get his hand on this fantastic trophy right here. This one here, at the moment, 2 for 2 for Yannick Pletcher. This is the trophy and the prize that he is playing for. Too early to say yet. There's still 8 more races left to go in this calendar season. So it's looking good for Yannick, because he's clearly got the pace to win that one. But has he got everything to go? He was involved in a little collision as well earlier on. Let's not forget, he turned into the back of another car, so race control may take a look at that one as well, though. Our calendar, next Challenger League race, Mugello. Qualifying opens on Monday. You get yourself involved, get yourself to a racing lounge, get involved in qualifying, because Mugello, 9th of June, that is the next Challenger League event that Yannick Pletcher will want to win. 2 weeks' time. And then in another 2 weeks' time after that, just over a month, it is Imola. So you will not want to miss that one. And Yannick Pletcher there, 750 Swiss francs in his back pocket. And he's one more step closer to that 3,000. For the Rock, he'll take home 300 Swiss francs for finishing P3. Nothing confirmed yet, though. This is all a provisional result. We await race control to confirm a top 3. We await for word in my ear of the top 3. That, though, was your Challenger League Round 2, the Red Bull Ring. Done and in the bag for the Challenger League drivers. We'll be back tomorrow for the Racer League, in which Schmiedel and Alejandro Sanchez, Sinan de Merbas, Ciro Zambra and David Seed will take to the track. Obviously, the 2 Challenger League boys from last season took race win, first and second last time out. So they'll be starting from the back of the pack in the knockout qualifying. What can they do there? And we are hopefully going to get an interview with the top 3 in just a moment, as we do await confirmation of the final podium and final classification through race control. Now will be working very, very, very hard. But there's Yannick Pletcher in his cockpit. Thumbs up from the family and a number 1 from Yannick. And we said in the race, you don't see the emotion from Yannick, but you're seeing it now, right now. Look how much it means to this man. We saw it at Silverstone. We're seeing it again now, that Yannick Pletcher is a man who is absolutely loving his racing at the moment. He's loving the fact that he's 2-time race winner this season. Didn't win the prologue. That went the way of Borges Orzo. But the season started, and that man meant business. Yannick Pletcher has yet to be stopped. Here is the last lap as we come out the final corner of Yannick Pletcher, and the moment that he'd have absolutely loved as he crossed the line to take that race win and become a 2-time winner this season. Yannick Pletcher, absolute great stuff. It is, though, provisional result at the moment. 1, 2 and 3 all under investigation. So a two-time winner for now. Race control will have to go through everything and make sure that it is all above board. But there is the emotion from the young man. That then, provisional result. Yannick Pletcher, Nico Forland from Rock Merzel. 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. We saw with Nico Forland, look on his face. Does he think a penalty is coming his way? Was Fabio right? You know, if Yannick and Nico get a penalty, did Fabio get it right with saying that Rock would win the race? That's down to race control to decide what will happen to the top 3. They're all under investigation, is all we know. It's down to race control to decide the rest. Challenger League done. 2 races out of 10 in the bag. Racer League tomorrow, midday. That is what we can tell you, and Mikko Schmiedl and others will be fighting for that one at the moment. We do have Rock in the box with us now. Rock, can you hear us? Rock, are you there? Don't think he can hear us again. Rock, are you there? No. We are having a few problems at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Please bear with us. We will speak with Rock about his podium. And we are just getting some technical difficulties out the way, and we will be with Rock now, I believe. Rock, can you hear us?
I can hear us. I can hear you, yes.
Yes, and I've got you this time. I can hear you. What a race.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't know what to say, you know. I was getting nervous because I saw Nico behind pushing. And yeah, I knew my pace wasn't so good. And yeah, I got nervous. I did some mistakes. I tried to defend as long as I could. But yeah, I don't know what happened in that left turn. I think there was some contact, but the stewards will take a look at and make the right decision.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. You decided to use your push to pass very early.
Yes.
Strategy-wise?
Yeah, you know, I saw behind there was Besnik, I think, and there was a little gap, and I tried to use the push to pass to get away.
Not bad for your first race, though. P3 at the moment.
Thanks.
Well done on your first race, and hope to see you again at Mugello.
Thank you.
Rock Merzel there then. P3 provisionally for him, and a very, very happy man there. Obviously tactically using his push to pass early doors and choosing to get that one out the way very early. I imagine on screen in a moment we'll see Nico Forland, which was P2 provisionally in the race. And there he is at the moment. Nico, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Talk us through that one, because you was hunting him down.
Yeah, it was a hard race. I think driving in dirty air is unbelievable hard. I was trying to push every time out of dirt corner. I have no traction. And I saw that Yannick was coming faster and faster behind us. And then we had a contact. But I knew that he gets understeer in the left hand. And I was trying to cover the inside. But then we touched. I don't know if it was my fault or his fault. I think the stewards will give us the right decision. I don't make these decisions, but it's okay.
It was a great race from yourself, though, because you had a lot of pace to catch him. You obviously had that 2 laps of push to pass that he didn't have that helped. But Yannick Pletcher from behind, really good pace from him.
Congrats to Yannick. He was pretty fast. I don't know what he did, but he did something right today. Yeah, I'm fine with P3 or P2, whatever it is, but Yannick have deserved the win for sure.
It's great to see you back on the podium, Nico. Congratulations. Hopefully we speak to you again at Mugello.
Yeah, thank you.
Nico there then. Both drivers saying that contact was made. Race control will obviously take a look at that one and make sure that the right decision is given. But pretty confident that a podium will go his way. 10 seconds they had to Borgesarzo, so pretty big gap back to Borgesarzo. So it would be some big penalty for them to lose and fall off the podium. Yannick Pletcher will be speaking to in just a few moments' time. Then we'll see him pop up on the screen behind me in just a moment. And he will be, I assume, a very, very happy man. And he will be fantastic. Here he is now. Yannick, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Matthew.
Yannick, that is 2 from 2 at the moment.
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. That means so much for me. You know, that's so nice.
A great race from yourself. You had fantastic pace because not only did you have no push to pass, you caught the leaders very comfortably.
Yes, I was just thinking corner after corner to catch the guys in front. I thought Nico Falland will overtake him earlier, but I always thought to myself, I'm giving everything, you know. I'm giving everything, and yeah, this is how it went.
Now, from your point of view, you must have thought Christmas came early when them two made contact and you managed to slip up the inside.
Yes, maybe that's a penalty right there. I don't know, because it was such a close battle and I didn't saw it till now, so I must rewatch it and yeah, learn out of it or watch.
You had a bit of contact with the driver earlier on.
Yes.
Just talk us through what happened there.
Yes, I was driving on the outside, I think. I was on the outside and he was going to move into me a bit. Maybe I also steered a bit too much to the right and then we collide, but yeah, that's how I think it went, but I'm not 100% sure, so
well, at the moment, Yannick, you are provisionally the race winner. Nothing confirmed yet, but congratulations nonetheless, Yannick. Fantastic job from yourself.
Thank you, Matthew. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And a man that's wearing his heart on his sleeve and very, very happy with his race win at the minute. But the top 3 still all under investigation. We don't have confirmation yet of that final 3. These boys have a very, very difficult job to get this decision done. And we see we've got Carl Verdlinger there and Fabio just looking on to make sure that our Racing Unleashed experts give the stewards their point of view from what they see from their racing perspective. Obviously, Carl has a lot of experience at incidents that he can give his information and his point of view across to the race control guys on the wall. They make the decisions at the end of the day. They are the men that keep the rules in check. Prize money, there it is, 750 Swiss francs could be going the way of Yannick Pletcher, 500 possibly for Nico Forland, and 300 maybe for Rock Merzel, all the way down to 30 francs for a top 10. 3,000 for the season for the champion Racer League, 3,500 for a race win tomorrow. Somebody is playing for, all the way down to 200 for a top 10. Yannick out the court, high fives there. There's Rock as well. What are them two going to be discussing there then? The two potential podium drivers. What a season though. It's a good job the lounges aren't competing against each other here, because Kemptol at the minute, a 1-2 at Silverstone, a potential 1-3 here. Absolutely fantastic for Kemptol at the moment, working really hard to get the results that they need this season. We didn't see the Hayter brothers charge through the field. They was a bit up and down, as was Marcus Valverde in this race, and a few others up and down. What happened to Michael Farland at the end? He was a lap down and in the gravel trap towards the end of that race, so we don't know what happened there. But that's a shame that he was in the gravel, because he was running in a decent position before that. But in Kemptol, first and third potentially, they're having a good discussion. There's Thomas Herzog in front of camera, coming into shot now. What can these boys, what are they thinking? Thomas Herzog, a bit of a hug there. Christoph Holstein, I believe, as well. Cheering on, he'll be ready to go tomorrow. Race control, very, very big decision they have to make. It's all kind of nervy, isn't it? There, you know, Rock's very happy with his position. Yannick still, there's a smile, but a bit of cautiousness to his smile. We've got a few replays we could take a look at coming up as well, so we'll be able to see a few of them. Here's the first one then. This is Roberto Miguez off the line. It's the orange car we're watching here. Good start, gets a good launch, gets ahead of the car in front of him. Just gets squeezed a little bit. All clean through turn 1. Overtaking off the track. Yes, this is still going here. They're 4 abreast, 3 abreast. Yep, 3 into 1, and that's not even a corner. Doesn't work. That looks like the car's come across the front of Miguez there, and then he taps one round. Yeah, a lot happened. A lot happened for Miguez. It turns 1 and 2. There, Fabio Schlegel then. Good launch for him off the line. Gets alongside the car. Look at that for a launch from whoever that is behind. Up into turn 1. Schlegel. Get it stopped. Get it stopped. Taps the yellow car. Kept it going. But he did tap the yellow car round. Here's Mario Stanek. So after the collision... Oh, he actually bumps the car into Roberto Miguez. So maybe race control might look at that a little different now from Miguez, but look at the other incidents going on. Here's on board Stanek. Avoids a car there. Hasn't got it slowed down at all in time. Gets it turned in, and then just a little quicker than the car in front, and tries to mount the rear end there of the LU23 car and hop over him to carry on his way, but that's not the fastest way around a circuit. Lorenzo Haider there tags the car in front, gets tagged around himself. Here's Marcus Valverde. That's the one he had to avoid. We was on him for that one. Taps the car to the left, but has to avoid the one in front. Is that how race control are going to see it? Because let's look at this. Brakes now, down the gears. What's your thoughts on that one? Is he getting that one stopped? Fabio Schlegel then, from way back, and then gets walloped in the rear. He's done well not to actually hit the car in front of Schlegel there. It's Joshua Hader that looks like it's the driver. Now, is that car in front just a little... Has the car in front of Schlegel, has he had his own moment that is a bit slow? Mertesi, yeah. That's just a silly error, and then spins the car, gets it, thankfully, gets tapped back into the right direction, but just, he's not even made the apex. You can see at his point of turning, he's not even going to make the apex of the corner there, and this is why the penalty points have been brought in, to cut out these silly little errors from drivers. You saw the last one there, not making the apex of the corner. Race control are probably going to get that one down as a penalty. So penalty points possibly coming for a few drivers' way. And as Fabio and myself discussed earlier, drivers such as Marcus Valverde are not going to want a single penalty point. If he gets 5, that's a knockout ban for next week. Other drivers, Thomas Herzog, he was on 7. Tyler Klaus, he wasn't here today. Koch was on 5 as well. So a couple of penalty points for him would have seen him maybe get himself a knockout ban for Mugello in 2 weeks' time then. We are still awaiting the final confirmation from race control over who your race winner is and who your top 3 is. And they're the men that make the difficult decisions. That's why they're paid to do that. They're in the position, they're in this role of stewarding. They're the guys that either come under scrutiny. You know what drivers are like. If it's a driver, you disagree with what the steward says, unless it's in your favour. But race control are looking at every angle of every driver, of every incident. Them guys will get every decision correct to what they believe is correct. They've got a difficult job. I would not like to be in their position, put it that way, because I myself know as stewards can get a lot of criticism from drivers, especially if the decision isn't what they feel is right. Drivers very passionate, especially on the day of the race. They may look back on it and go, oh yeah, race control was right. But at the moment, they may sort of be a bit the adrenaline still pumping and rushing, and they may feel that it wasn't the right decision. But race control always get the answers they need. Red Bull Ring done for the Challenger League, Racer League. Now, we do have a result. It's a 5-second penalty for Yannick Pletcher and a 5-second penalty for Nico Forland. So, the Rock Merzel, will take not only qualifying pole position, he takes the race win as well. Rock is your race winner. Yannick Pletcher, P2. Nico Forland, P3. It means it's Kemptol 1-2 for a second race running. But Rock, on his first outing, takes the race win. That is a classified result. I don't know if we've still got the live shots of Kemptol, but I'd love... There we go. We see the live shots now. There's Yannick Pletcher, P2, yep. Just clicked onto that one. We can't quite see Rock. He's in the background there. Does he realise he's won yet? He does now. A kiss from the girlfriend, a hug from Yannick Pletcher, a round of applause from everybody else. It took him a while to realise he'd won the race. Rock, then, is your race winner. Look at the joy from him. Absolutely thrilled with that one. It took him a little while to click on he'd won that race there. Yannick was giving it the P2 with the fingers, and it took the Rock a little longer to realise. Here we are, though, in Munich. 5-second penalty for Nico Forland. He's going to take that P3 step on the podium. Keeps his podium at the end of the day. P3 can be very happy with that because he had a very, very good race and a P3 medal around his neck. Thumbs up, high fives. And Munich very, very happy with their man. And back to Kemptol, where we're about to see Yannick Pletcher. He's not number 1 this week, but he's still number 2. He'll still lead the championship. And Yannick Pletcher makes it first and second in the first 2 races in the Challenger League. Yannick Pletcher, P2. Fantastic result for him. And we stay with Kemptol because we're about to get race winner on debut. Rock, once again, we get to see the pure emotion. A high five and a hug from his fellow driver, Yannick. And the winner's medal for Rock. Absolutely fantastic scenes there. Great to see between them two. P1 in qualifying, P1 in the race. He's been number 1 all day. The Rock has tamed the bull. And at the Red Bull Ring, the Slovenian comes out on top. What a great drive that is for Rock Merzel there. Race winner in the Challenger League. P1, 2 and 3. All confirmed there then. Race control will still go over every other decision to make sure 4th to 20th is accurate and is as it should be. That, though, with the guarantee of a 5-second penalty for Yannick Pletcher and Nico Forland, will give them several penalty points in the championship. I believe it's 5 penalty points for 5-second time penalty. That's their first penalty points this season, but it's 5 points nonetheless. If they had a good knockout, does that maybe take some off? Race control and all our officials will decide that one. Make sure you follow us on our social media if you want to see the full classified result, penalty point standings and other fun little bits that we have at Racing Unleashed. Go over to Twitter and Instagram to check them out, Racing Unleashed on there, to keep up to date with all the information that Racing Unleashed has to offer. If you want to get involved, then check out the website on the internet. Go to Racing Unleashed. And make sure that if you want to be involved in one of our racing lounges, come down Madrid, Munich. We've got the 3 in Switzerland, Calm, Switzerland, and Zurich Airport, and the Kemptol Lounge itself. If you want to try and qualify to take on these 2 and become maybe like Rock today, the next Challenger League winner at Mugello. Qualifying opens on Monday for that. So if you want to take part, get yourself involved because Rock, he turned up, he qualified, he dominated. That is fantastic. We are going to speak with Rock. He's just getting an earpiece in now so he can hear us. But we are now going to speak with Rock again.
Hello?
To be able to get an interview for Pole 1. Rock, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Brilliant. How does that feel?
Yeah, unbelievable. I still can't believe it. I know now what Yannick felt last time, and unbelievable. I thought I was on P3 at the end, but it was pretty surprising now that I'm P1. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. I wanted to say, yeah.
It looked like it took you a moment or 2 to realise you'd won the race.
Yeah. I still can't believe it. But I'm very happy, and unbelievable. I'm just looking forward to the next race, and then yeah.
Mugello next, Rock. We hope to see you at Mugello. We'd love to see you on the top step. Race winner, Rock Merzel there. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
We hope to see him back at Mugello in 2 weeks' time. Qualifying opens Monday. Then, boys, have got to get ready straight away. They've got 2 days rest before they're qualifying again for Mugello. All the Challenger League drivers have to qualify for that one to get back in to participate going forward. Penalty points and everything will be calculated. Will anybody have knockout bans? Will anybody have race bans? Weekend bans, sorry, for next week. Keep your eyes on the social media platforms to see any changes there. We will be back tomorrow, though, with the Racer League midday. There is our Kemptor Lounge, all looking very happy, and still smiles on the fans of Yannick Pletcher, and smiles there for Rock Merzel as well. And I think Yannick's trying to get us so we can pick up the audience there. Yannick Pletcher, once racing driver, now turned into colleague on the broadcasting, look, doing his best there to get the audience riled up and get them to applaud and everything. What a day, what a race for the Challenger League drivers. I can't believe that it's gone by so quickly. We are back tomorrow, though, with the Racer League. If Challenger League was this good today, what's the Racer League going to be tomorrow? Them guys have to get ready in 2 days' time for qualifying once again then. Kemptor, still all smiles, still all happy. Race control still going through every other result, though, from 4th to 20th to make sure everything is calculated correctly for points and prize money to be given out in the right place. Yannick Pletcher is still a very happy man for P2, isn't he? Still looks like he's got an absolute big smile on his face, though, there. And he gets to do it all again in 2 weeks' time. Mugello, the circuit. We go to a fantastic classic Italian circuit there to drive around, and it last year provided such great thrills and spills, especially in the knockout qualifying. Thousandths of a second separated first and second in knockout last time. Will we get anything like that again in 2 weeks' time? We are very quick turnaround here before Imola as well. We stay in Italy at the end of June for Imola as well, and I believe. Does it look like we're going to get to speak with Yannick Pletcher? Yannick? P2?
Yes, hello. Yes, it's still amazing, I think. I really enjoy it. But, yeah. And really, great congrats to Rock.
It's great to see that even though you've picked up that 5-second penalty, you're still smiling as if you've won the race.
Yes, it's still amazing. I mean, it is not the win, you know. That's always a bit frustrating, but I'm really happy with P2. I think also with the race itself, it was, I think, pretty good. But yeah, that contact, that was, yeah, unfortunate. It was, yes. I need to rewatch it then.
It is what it is, but it's great to see you still smiling and happy. And it's good points in the championship.
Definitely, yes. I take those points. I take those points.
It's great to see you smiling. Congratulations on the P2, Yannick. Well done.
Thank you, Mathew. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
And that, though, is all we have time for today. The final race result we will bring you tomorrow in the Racer League action. But from us here at Racing Unleashed, thank you for tuning in for the round 2 of Challenge League. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.